Welcome back to another UCL Fantasy Deadline stream, this time at a Matchday 14, the second leg of the quarterfinals. Drop a like on this video if you end up enjoying it or finding it insightful. I'll be covering all the latest team news from yesterday and today, and also building upon everything I discussed across all my videos. The best team for Matchday 14, where I combined the best Limitless and Wildcard squads into one video, and also my team selection, where I provided injury updates, team news, suspensions, and also talked about my transfer plans, which have changed slightly. It is a possibility that Robert Lewandowski will be benched, but we will find out very soon with the official lineups for Borussia Dortmund versus Barcelona, and also Paris Saint-Germain having a trip to Villa Park there. So all of those lineups will be covered on stream and we can react to it. I would highly recommend not making any transfers just yet, but try to lock them in after we see the lineups and have that extra bit of information. Of course, we will have not much of an idea of tomorrow's lineups. We can have maybe our own assumptions and predictions, but we won't know the full picture. But I will try my very best to have you well prepared for Matchday 14 and beyond. Also check out the social media platforms in the description, which includes my X, Instagram and Blue Sky, Dylan RCM. Also check out the Discord server, UCL Fantasy League, Spotify, as well as my Patreon and the channel memberships on YouTube, so you can gain early access to my videos amongst many other perks. A massive shout out goes to Napstars and Paredes for gifting 15 memberships between them in the last UCL Fantasy Deadline stream. I'm still on holiday, but I'm here producing the content you need for UCL Fantasy, and when I'm back in a couple of days, I'll be recording FPL videos and going live once more on Saturday. So let's start things off with Sidindra. He says, hey Dylan, is it worth selling Guirassy, Oblak and Dumfries to Lautaro Martinez, Szczesny and double up on PSG defence with Nuno Mendes? I think Nuno Mendes is worth it for the attacking threat. He made the mistake, of course, for Aston Villa's goal, but made up for it with a goal and the assist. So I do think he's worth an investment, but I think Aston Villa will score in Matchday 14 for what it's worth. But I think PSG will go through to the next round. In terms of your first question, I think it is ultimately worth it to make those sort of transfers, because Guirassy is 1 yellow card away from suspension and Borussia Dortmund are 4-0 down. I don't think they'll stage a comeback. Now, could Guirassy score a brace? He has done it before against Barcelona this season. So I actually don't mind holding him for one more game. Oblak, of course, is eliminated and Dumfries is injured. So yeah, overall, I'd lean towards yes, but I think Guirassy Lautaro Martinez is quite close, and I would maybe be inclined to keep Guirassy facing a Barcelona side who could rotate a little bit. For example, Inigo Martinez, who is a suspension risk, might be rested today, and we could see a different centre-back partnership of Araujo with Cubarsí. So that is one possible rotation for Barcelona alongside Robert Lewandowski, who felt discomfort. I'll be covering all the latest updates very soon. But ultimately, the answers to your questions are yes, but I'd maybe reconsider the Guirassy to Lautaro move. A big shout out as well to Kai Rill, who said first. So good to see you people here hours in advance. You know, whilst I was at the beach, not trying to flex, people still here. I do appreciate it. Definitely not. Hussein Heshim says best free into defenders long term. Bastoni for me, I've been quite consistent on that for the last couple of weeks because he's the most nailed on. He won player of the match in the first leg. He can get the odd ball recovery point. I think once Denzel Dumfries is back, he would enter that podium of best defenders, but since he's not available now, I'd probably put Pavard just above him. I think the expected centre-back partnership, and of course it's 3 defenders for Inter Milan, would be Acerbi, Bastoni and Pavard. So that might help you quite a lot there. DeMarco is a bit of a doubt, but he should start, and that's what several Italian sources have indicated. But he has been suffering with an injury in the last couple of weeks, and he was subbed off on Saturday, despite providing an assist in that 3-1 win for Inter Milan. So I do like DeMarco, but I think if you want to go a bit safe, yeah, I think DeMarco might be slightly ranked below Pavard and Bastoni. Josh, good to see you. Easy99 says we'll transfer out Guirassy and Balde. One more transfer out, either Ryerson, Emi Martinez or Rodgers. I'd keep Rodgers for now. I actually like him a lot for the Limitless or Wildcard this week. You can always sell him for Matchday 15 if needed. Ryerson, I think, would be sold. I think he is the one I'd highly recommend selling. Borussia Dortmund are 4-0 down, and even if they score a few goals, I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet. Yeah, nicely done, easy. Quentin says, hey Dylan, hope you're doing well. I have one free transfer left. Would you bring in Szczesny for Emi Martinez, considering that I already have Kunde from the Barca defence and Sommer as my second goalkeeper? I think long term that's a good move, but for Matchday 14 specifically, I'd actually argue Aston Villa might have a slightly better chance of a clean sheet, but that is obviously debatable. My current predictions actually are 3-1 Barcelona and 2-2 in the PSG game, but I'm quite conflicted about some of them. And once the lineups are out, I'll give my final predictions there with that game predict 6. Crown says worth going for Elise, Bacho, Kim Min-jae to Rodgers, Nuno Mendes and Timber on a free. Jurriën Timber might be a good move long term, but I think Real Madrid will score. So I think the timing might be a little bit off. I also discussed buying Saliba myself in my team selection, and I'm not fully convinced. So I would actually reconsider it, and maybe you can keep one of Bacho or Kim Min-jae and not buy Timber just yet. Alberto says, can Real Madrid revive? Should I keep Mbappe or Kane or both? I'd still keep Mbappe. I think the odds are against them. So right now, Arsenal are the heavy favourites to go through. But yeah, let's put it this way. Real Madrid are more likely to make a comeback than Borussia Dortmund. I think that goes without saying. There's obviously one goal less in it with a 3-0 deficit rather than 4-0. And also Real Madrid's pedigree in this competition is something you can't really understate. And also, you know, Borussia Dortmund up against probably the best team in Europe right now in Barcelona, whilst Arsenal have been quite shaky this season with a lot of injuries and yada, yada, yada. But yeah, Real Madrid can make a comeback. I really hope they don't. But keeping Mbappe and Kane, I think, is probably advisable, especially in the case of Mbappe, who for me is the best Wednesday captaincy option. So yeah, any news on Lewandowski? He felt some discomfort and he was already kind of touted to possibly be benched on Monday afternoon. And after that kind of update in training, yeah, I think there's a good chance Lewandowski is benched for Ferran Torres, who I've got my eye on as a one-week punt in that midfield. Thank you, Wilfred. Let's also go to the recent comments. And don't worry, if I haven't answered your question or just yet, you can pose your question again or your comment in a couple of minutes' time. Just be sure not to spam and everything will be good. Hi, Dylan. Yamal versus Dembele. I prefer Dembele for this match day, but not by much. And overall, yeah, they do make part of my best limitless and wildcard squads, to be fair. Good to see you, Paredes. It's always a pleasure. Leave likes before he starts. Thank you very much. Rodgers versus Asensio. Rodgers for me. He's been in brilliant form. Asensio missed 2 penalties against Southampton. I mean, for Ramsdale to make 1 penalty save is a miracle. For him to make a double penalty save, yeah, there must have been some pretty bad penalties. Zodiac says, like the stream, guys. It helps the stream. Thank you very much. And good to see you, CR. Hola también. Easy says, possible wildcard semi-final depending on the result. If not, wildcarding in the second leg of the semi-finals. Limitless in the final. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of using the limitless in the final. Remember, you only have a starting 11. Your bench is irrelevant. So you do lose a big appeal of it. And I think a lot of non-limitless teams with a wildcard or free transfers can compete and have a very similar squad. Maybe you can have 1 or 2 different picks in there, but I always advise people to use the limitless as soon as possible. So if you still got it, I'd recommend using it now in matchday 14 and then wildcarding in 15 or 16, depending on your team situation. Zodiac says, I consider gambling a lot on Real Madrid since I still got my wild card. Yeah, I think that's fair. And what that allows you to do is go for some one-week punts, which I did last match day, and that helped me quite a bit. But yeah, there is obviously a balancing act, and I get it. I think for this match day only, Real Madrid are probably worth doubling, tripling, maybe even quadrupling up on. I think Arsenal will score. So Real Madrid aren't, they are top of the clean sheet odds, as I'll show you again very soon. But offensively, I definitely recommend 1 or 2 of their assets, Bellingham, Vinicius, Rodrigo, and I think the main man there would be Kylian Mbappe. Arsenal to the semi-finals as Ghost, hopefully, but it's not done yet. I think, obviously right now, Inter Milan, Arsenal, Barcelona, and PSG are the favourites to go through, but apart from Barcelona, I think every single game is still up in the air. Of course, Arsenal have the advantage and Real Madrid are now, in terms of the odds, they're definitely stacked against them, but never rule out Real Madrid, and I hope they are eliminated. Yeah, potential rotation of Barcelona out, that's true, but there's no need to worry because we get the lineup in a couple of minutes' time. So once that is out, so probably in 20, 30 minutes, I will be covering it. I have 2 free transfers. Do they add on for the next leg? No. So as covered in my chip strategy guide and also the how to play UCL Fantasy video, the transfers are only able to be stacked and rolled in the league phase. You can't do it in the knockout stages. That is clearly stated in the rules and nothing has changed in the last couple of years. Would you transfer up Bellingham to Saka to fund Kim Min-jae to Koundé? I mean, long term, that looks like a good set of moves. I think Bellingham to Saka could sting this week, even if Madrid are eventually eliminated, but Overall, yeah, I'd probably say yes, but I'm just a bit skeptical about Bellingham to Saka, if I'm being honest, for this match day only. Craver360 says, I've got a very similar team to you and the free transfers. What are your plans? Well, I discussed this in my team selection, and we might as well go through some different graphics so you can see what I'm talking about. So it'll go through my review of match day 13, so you can see that very briefly. But my original plan was to keep my Barcelona players and to also potentially buy Lautaro Martinez for Harry Kane. That is like a possible transfer, not set in stone. In that defensive line, maybe Pacho to Nuno Mendes, or perhaps keeping him and tripling up on PSG defensively by replacing Kim Min-jae with Nuno Mendes. Saliba's another possible transfer there. I'm a bit unsure about the defenders, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of those kind of moves there. But this is obviously, you can see it now on screen, Kim Min-jae to Saliba. That is something that has crossed my mind, but I don't like it for match day 14. Then, of course, Pacho to Nuno Mendes seems quite sideways, but then again, I'm quite happy with my team overall. Elise to Kvaratskhelia has also crossed my mind, but I was also considering a 1 week punt and going for Morgan Rogers instead of Kvaratskhelia, and Elise would be the kind of sacrificial lamb. However, instead of making this move and also Harry Kane to Lautaro Martinez, I am considering selling Lewandowski if he is benched today, and we will find out in half an hour's time. And if Lewandowski is benched, I could go to Lautaro Martinez, keep Harry Kane, or perhaps even go to Vinicius Jr. and then make other moves elsewhere. But I think if I end up making a forward transfer, it will be Lewandowski to Lautaro, and that gives me enough money to buy Ferran Torres for Elise and also Nuno Mendes for Kim Min-jae. So those are my current plans now, the update kind of version after the news we've got today. But if Lewandowski starts, I'm not going to sell him, and then it's back to the drawing board, and I might struggle to make that third and final transfer. But hopefully these graphics have also helped you kind of visualize my moves, and you can see my provisional team for match day 14, but it is not set in stone because those lineups that we're going to get very soon are crucial, and they will determine what I'll finally do, especially with Robert Lewandowski. I'd be very happy to keep him right now, but if he is benched, then he will make way. Rafinha is going to be my Tuesday captain if he starts, and tomorrow I'll go for Kylian Mbappe. I either get points or jinx him. Either way, I couldn't care less. Let's also go to other graphics and discuss different points of view. So we'll start off with the odds. Real Madrid are top with a 34% chance of keeping a clean sheet. PSG, Barcelona, Bayern Munich and Inter Milan complete the top 5, and the rest of the quarterfinalists ranked in order of clean sheet odds are Aston Villa, Borussia Dortmund and Arsenal, who only have a 14% chance of keeping a clean sheet according to fantasyfootballpundit.com. With the goal scorer odds, Mbappe is top with Lewandowski, Dembele, Vinicius and Kane in the top 5. Then we have Guirassy, Watkins, Rafinha, Ferran Torres, Lautaro Martinez, Gonzalo Ramos, Marcus Thuram, Barcola, Bellingham and Dani Olmo, who is back in that Barcelona squad. So yeah, those are the top 15 likely goal scorers for matchday 14 according to the same website. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat as well. And let's also discuss injury updates, which are very important to say the least. But before I do that, you can see the first leg results for the quarterfinals. Arsenal 3, Real Madrid 0, Bayern Munich 1, Inter Milan 2, PSG 3, Aston Villa 1, and Barcelona 4, Borussia Dortmund 0. And now, of course, you can see the second leg fixtures and also the brackets. So the winner of PSG versus Aston Villa will face Real Madrid or Arsenal. Barcelona versus Dortmund, the winner of that game will face Bayern Munich or Inter Milan in the semi-finals. And here you can see the top scorers. So Rafinha is top with 12 goals. Lewandowski is second with 11. Guirassy and Kane are tied for third with 10 goals. And Erling Haaland is fifth with 8 Champions League goals. In terms of assists, Rafinha has now gone up to the top with 7 assists for the campaign. Kimmich is second with 6. Hakimi has 5. And the eliminated Frimpong, De Ketelaere and Zappacosta all have 5. So I did cover these injury updates yesterday, so feel free to go to my team selection video because there might be certain things that I won't be able to cover today because I've already kind of covered them in a lot of detail in my best team and team selection videos. So yeah, bear that in mind. I always encourage you to check out those videos for more detailed analysis and stuff like that. But what I also want to show you very quickly is the chip strategy. And I actually want to show you a comparison of the wildcard and the limitless for those that aren't aware. So you have one wildcard and limitless for the entire tournament. You have unlimited transfers in both cases, but with the budget, you have unlimited budget with the limitless chip. With the wildcard, you have to adhere to, well, your budget basically, and it will be different for everybody watching. Now, the team will reset once the match day is over for the limitless, but not the wildcard, which enforces permanent changes to your squad. And my advice for those with both chips still intact is to use the limitless in matchday 14 and then wildcard in either matchday 15 or 16, which will ultimately be team dependent. I might go back to this if you want to see more, and all of these graphics were covered in my chip strategy guide a couple of months ago, and that is still relevant today. From the very beginning of the season, I made it very clear that I wanted a wildcard in the knockout stages, and that's what I ended up doing in matchday 13. So let's now go back to my UCL Fantasy squad for now. And in a little bit, I'll be covering some updates from yesterday and also today, which weren't addressed in my recent videos. Yeah, De Vrij isn't going to start apparently. So the Inter Milan predicted lineup, which I'll show you very soon, has Acerbi, Pavard and Bastoni as the free centre-backs. De Vrij will not be starting apparently. So yeah, any questions about Barcelona players starting or not? We'll find out in a couple of minutes. So there's no need to really go into that. Thank you, Julio Pena, for the super chat. It's always good to see you. So, hi Dylan, is Lewandowski a doubt? If so, is he a sell? I would likely want him back next match day. Also pick 2 out of Saliba, Nuno Mendes or Bastoni. My other defenders are Hakimi, Bacho and Koundé. Thanks. Yeah, I'm in a similar boat to you. I think in terms of varying your defense, it'd probably be best on paper to go for Saliba and Bastoni. But my answer right now is probably to go for Nuno Mendes and tripling up on PSG defensively, as well as Bastoni. So that means no Saliba for now. It means no Arsenal defence, but I think Real Madrid will score their first ever goal against Arsenal in a competitive game. With Lewandowski, we'll find out very soon, but the latest reports indicate he will be benched and rested with Ferran Torres starting. So if that's the case, and I think Lewandowski will be benched, I'd probably sell Lewandowski if you can as a 1-week punt. You do get 5 free transfers for matchday 15, the first leg of the semi-finals, to then go back to the Polish striker. It's not ideal. You just rather keep him and have him start against Dortmund because I think he can do very well. But I think it's probably worth the kind of 1-week punt if he's benched. But don't make any transfer until that Dortmund versus Barcelona lineup is out, and then we can make a informed opinion and conclusion on that matter. Barra says hopefully Villa qualify. Well, they've got a tough ask, but it's still possible. Bastoni starts as Insane Gamer 7. Thank you very much. I'll be covering that soon. DeMarco was in the lineup I saw by Kicker, I think. But that is a German outlet. And I think different Italian magazines and stuff like that and sources indicate that DeMarco will play. But his minutes could be managed because he is carrying a bit of a problem from the last couple of weeks. So bear that in mind. Let's go through the different screens now. I might as well. And let's start off with the UCL Fantasy League. If you haven't done so, join my UCL Fantasy League. I think it's the biggest in the world. The code is cCaFxb. There is also an auto-join link in the description. And for Predict 6, I've gone for Aston Villa 2, PSG 2, and there are different kind of scenarios and predictions to make, which I might show you later on. Borussia Dortmund 1, Barcelona 3 is what I've currently gone for. Real Madrid 3, Arsenal 1. And Inter Milan 1, Bayern Munich 2, which would mean a penalty shootout if that ends up being the case. So, for Borussia Dortmund, Emre Can and Chukwuemeka are missing. The reasons are unknown. And Niko Kovac, the Borussia Dortmund manager, did indicate that Emre Can could be unavailable and he is doubtful. So that does add up. And you can see the players who have travelled on screen. So that is courtesy of BVB Newsblog. For Barcelona, this is the squad list that they announced yesterday. Dani Olmo is in it. Balde is going to miss the next 2 to 3 weeks minimum with a hamstring problem. And we will see the lineup very soon if it's not out already. So Lewandowski raises fitness alarm in training ahead of Dortmund tie. And according to this article, it does indicate that Lewandowski could be benched for Ferran Torres. And of course, I just mentioned this about Balde. He will probably be out for 3 weeks. He will miss the Copa del Rey final against Real Madrid. And Emery was actually asked about the penalty takers. So we have our penalty taker or penalty shooter. And the first one is Marcus Rashford. The second is Marco Asensio. The third and others are Yuri Tielemans, John McGinn, and Ollie Watkins. So that might be of some interest to those with Aston Villa assets in UCL Fantasy. So Manuel Neuer will definitely miss Wednesday game against Inter. Ulbig will start in goal again. Neuer tried to get fit in time but wasn't able to do training involving his injured calf. So yeah, Neuer is ruled out. Orbig at 3.9 million offers decent value, but I think Inter Milan will score. So this is Bayern Munich's squad. As you can see, Neuer hasn't travelled. Orbig will probably start between the sticks, and they have a lot of injuries. Alphonso Davies out for the season, I believe. Ito as well. And I did cover all of this in my UCL Fantasy videos yesterday, and also, well, yeah, both of them were uploaded yesterday and also recorded. It was a double recording just before I went to the bloody beach. Another player who's missing is Musiala, of course, and that's something we've known from Matchday 13. He's going to miss the next 6 to 8 weeks. So with DeMarco, Carlos Augusto, Fratesi and Zalewski, they are all fine for Bayern Munich, and that is what Inzaghi said yesterday in his press conference. Actually, he said it today. Yeah, it was a couple of hours ago. So Ancelotti is in doubt about whether to play Valverde as a right back or in the midfield versus Arsenal, and apparently the current inclination is to start the Uruguayan in the midfield. So Dani Ceballos will play against Arsenal. However, Ferland Mendy is out, which is something we talked about in the last week over the streams and videos. Thomas Partey is part of the Arsenal travelling squad to face Real Madrid. And of course, he sustained a slight issue against Brentford after scoring a goal. The opening goal, that is, against their London rivals. And Jorginho is out for the next couple of weeks with, I think, a rib injury. He couldn't even breathe at that stage and had to be subbed off. So Arsenal were down to 10 men because they had made all their substitutions towards the end of that game on Saturday. But Partey is expected to be available there. The same goes for Ben White, who was in training. The same goes, of course, for Thomas Partey. Both of them have been confirmed to have featured there. So these are the lineups I saw for Inter Milan and Bayern Munich according to Kicker. So Sommer in goal for Inter Milan, Pavard, Acerbi and Bastoni, Calhanoglu, Barella, Mkhitaryan in the midfield, with DeMarco and Darmian as the wing-backs, Lautaro Martinez and Thuram up front. And for the Bavarians, Orbig in goal, Stanisic, Kim Min-jae, Dyer and Lima, Goretzka and Kimmich in the midfield, Gnabry and Elise on the wings, and Müller just behind Harry Kane. Yes, that means no Guerrero, who was quite tempting for a lot of people, including myself, for the first leg. But it looks like he's not going to start, according to Kicker anyway. So take these predictions with a pinch of salt. And I'm also going to show you predicted lineups. But before I do, we might have a lineup already. And if that's the case, I will be going through them now. So for Borussia Dortmund and Barcelona, let's see. So nothing's out yet. Once they are confirmed, I will be talking about it. And I'm not going to go for these predicted lineups because, like I said, there's not really any need to. What I want to focus on are the players who are out, doubtful, or suspension risk. And for those that aren't aware, the yellow cards will reset after matchday 14. So going into the semi-finals, you will have a clean slate. However, if a player gets a booking now, and that means they get the third yellow card of the season, they will miss the first leg of the semi-final. So hopefully that is very clear. So as long as they go this game unscathed and don't get that booking, then the slate is wiped clean and they don't have to worry about yellow cards anymore. But for Borussia Dortmund, Mane, Ostosinski, Sabitzer and Schlotterbeck are out. Emre Can is doubtful, and the suspension risks include Adeyemi, Bayer, Bensabani, Kuto, Guirassy, Ryerson, and Sabitzer. For Barcelona, Bernal, ter Stegen, Casalo and Balde are out. No doubtful players, and Inigo Martinez will miss the next game if booked, and that's why I think he will be benched tonight, but we'll find out anyway very soon. For Aston Villa PSG, so the Villains only have Bailey as a doubt due to a knock. Luka Dean, Disasi, Kamara and Rashford will miss the next game if booked. And for PSG, no players are out or doubtful, and Fabian Ruiz is the only suspension risk. For tomorrow's game, according to UEFA.com, they've gone for Sommer in goal, Pavard, Acerbi, Bastoni, Darmian, Barella, Calhanoglu, Mkhitaryan, DeMarco, Lautaro Martinez and Thuram. So basically what I just showed you, according to Kicker, Dumfries and Zielinski are out. No doubtful players, according to UEFA.com. Barella, Bastoni, Dumfries, Lautaro Martinez, Mkhitaryan and Pavard will miss the next game if booked. And for Bayern Munich, Orbig, Lima, Dyer, Kim Min-jae, Stanisic, Kimmich, Goretzka, Elise, Müller, Sane and Kane. So once again, the exact same lineup, if I'm not mistaken, that Kicker mentioned. Actually, I think there's one change. UEFA.com have gone for Sane, whilst Kicker suggests that Gnabry will play on the left. So that is the only change that I'm aware of. In terms of Bayern Munich's players who are unavailable, Alphonso Davies, Ito, Musiala, Neuer and Upamecano are all unavailable. Coman, Gnabry, Goretzka, Lima and Sane will miss the next game if booked. And finally, Real Madrid versus Arsenal. They've gone for Courtois in goal, Lucas Vazquez at the right back, and as the right back, and a lot of Real Madrid fans just don't want to see him play there. They'd rather see Valverde on that right-hand side and then see Ceballos in the midfield. Rudiger, Raul Asensio, Frank Garcia, Valverde, Tchouaméni, Rodrigo, Bellingham, Vinicius and Mbappe. Carvajal, Eder Militao and Camavinga are out. The latter is suspended. Mendy is also out, by the way, so that will be changed very soon. And I think Lunin has also reportedly, he's reportedly going to miss the game against Arsenal once more. Eder Militao, Endrick, Lucas Vazquez, Modric, Rudiger and Vinicius are all one yellow card away from suspension. And for Arsenal, they've gone for Raya, Timber, Saliba, Kivior, Lewis Skelly, Odegaard. They've put Jorginho in there, but trust me, he's not going to be available. So that will likely be Thomas Partey instead. Declan Rice, Saka, Marino and Martinelli. The players who are out include Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, Tomiyasu and Gabriel. All of them are out for the season. And Calafiori is close to return, but not yet, it looks like. Partey is doubtful. The same goes for Ben White and Jorginho, but essentially Jorginho is out, whilst White and Partey will be in the squad, who has travelled to Madrid. I think that's already been confirmed. Martinelli, Partey, Rice and Timber are all suspension risks as well. So hopefully all of this has helped you with the graphics and the injury updates in my team selection video yesterday and the further ones I provided in today's live stream. And let's now go back to my UCL Fantasy squad for now, and I'll go to your questions whilst we wait for those eagerly anticipated lineups. Thank you very much, Bacon. Always a pleasure. Mbappe, hat-trick rage incoming. How about no? That would be brilliant. Even if I captain him, I couldn't bloody care. He can blank, and that'd be great. Thank you, Ahmed. Mate, how are you that consistent with posting and streaming while you're on vacation? I swear you deserve the best content creator award. Enjoy it, brother. Thank you. And look, I've had enough time to enjoy the holiday. I did a double recording yesterday, and a live stream on Saturday. Another stream obviously here today, and the rest I'm leaving it for London. You know, I'm not going to do anything more until I go back, but I do appreciate the kind words, and it's just a bit of fun, you know. If I didn't have fun with this, I would not be here, trust me. Hi Dylan, what to do with Elise, says FPO Rohits. I still think it's a good option, and amongst Bayern Munich midfielders, he's still my favourite. But I am tempted to sell him, especially to a one-week punt like Rodgers or Ferran Torres, who would be sold in matchday 15, but I think they can do really well in their respective games. Differential captain, I think Ferran Torres will be up there. He got 10 points against Borussia Dortmund earlier this season, and he was a substitute. He only played like 25 minutes, 24 minutes. So I think that could be a very nice shout. Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa. There are definitely some good options. For tomorrow, I'm a bit less keen. Maybe you'd go for Vinicius or Rodrigo. Bellingham. Yeah, I think Rodrigo would be my kind of shout for tomorrow. And for today, I'd be looking at Ferran Torres or... yeah, I think Rodgers. Best Tuesday captain. For me, it's Rafinha. If he starts, we'll find out very soon. Yeah, I think so as well. I think Rafinha will play. Also, we'll be looking for individual records. Yeah, I get that. Of course, for Champions League records, it's kind of inevitable that they will be broken now because of the extended format, but it's still very impressive what he's doing. So went to Wildcard, that is team dependent. If you're happy with your squad right now, then I'd encourage you to Wildcard in matchday 15, but you do get 5 free transfers for the first leg of the semi-finals and then free transfers for the second leg. It's a pattern that repeats itself until the end of the competition. No, as I just mentioned, according to Kicker and UEFA.com, Guerrero won't start. Best captain, yeah, that's been covered a few times. I'll talk about this again later in the stream when more people join in and we can, you know, kind of go through it. But basically, I'd say Rafinha today if he starts and tomorrow Mbappe. Very standard template. If you want to go a bit different, I have mentioned some alternative picks already, like Ferran Torres if he starts. Thank you, Julio Pena, and hopefully you do very well in matchday 14. I prefer Bastoni over Saliba for matchday 14, Jack. Kim Min-jae or Pavard? I'd lean towards Pavard. Kim Min-jae is absent from Bayern Munich. Let's go wait, let me double check that. I don't think he is absent. Did I close it? I think I did. What a bloody idiot. I think what I'll do is go to... let's see. Let's go to Bayern. Yeah, I think this is the page that I uploaded. Give me a second. Apologies. But just have another look. VAR check. Because I believe this page did post... yeah, here we go. Because that might be a great... no, yeah, it says Kim Min-jae, right? I just saw him, didn't I? Or am I being stupid? Wait, what? So Peretz, Paulinho, Urbig, Elise, Klang, Guerrero. Yeah, Kim Min-jae is right there. No, he has travelled. He has travelled. But yeah, worth kind of, double checking just in case. No real surprises for Bayern Munich. Just those players that I said are out. And most of them are unavailable for the rest of the season. But Upamecano could be available in early May. And I think Musiala is going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. The rest of them, like Ito, Alphonso Davies, they are not going to play again this season. So yeah, let's go back to my team again. And yeah, I might go for the graphics again one more time, but later in the stream. Party and Ben White trained. Yeah, exactly that. Insane Gamer. That is true. Maybe after the game, it will be a party for Arsenal. Hopefully. I really hope so. We haven't had much to celebrate this season. Barcelona is out. Very strong team. Thank you very much. They think you showed earlier, could not see Kim's name. Yeah, because it says Kim Min-jae. Well, it says Min-jae. So yeah, it's worth going through again, of course. But let's now go to the lineups. Oh, apologies. Didn't mean to put the Cyberpunk notification. Is the lineup out? Is it? I don't see it yet. Maybe it's on Twitter. So what I'm going to do now is go to Barcelona's Twitter and see if I can get it up on screen for you. But in just a matter of moments, we will find out. Okay, it seems like we don't know yet, but I'll leave it on screen whilst we wait. Let's go for some different questions. Hopefully I haven't missed too much from before. Ahmed says, do I keep Guirassy or try to fund a move to Lautaro? I'll be honest, a lot depends on the lineups, but apparently Barcelona have gone strong, according to a viewer in the live chat. I don't think there's a massive difference between both of them. I think the key difference is the fact that Lautaro is more likely to go through. That it goes without saying. But for Matchday 14, I don't think there's much in it. I think Guirassy could be very good, actually, for this game week only. Barcola says Kyo. I'm not sure if he starts. And I did mention this as a possibility in the last deadline stream when Due ended up starting. Going all in on the Real Madrid attack. Well, all the best with that, although I hope it flops terribly. Kvaratskhelia or Lamine Yamal? I prefer Yamal. Yeah, it's not out yet. It's not out. I got baited. I was a bit excited. Arsenal Madrid. I'm going to say Arsenal, I'm an Arsenal fan. 3-0 lead, but it's not going to be easy. And I think a lot depends on the beginning of the game. If Madrid score in the first half, it's going to be a very long 90 minutes of football. Thoughts on Kane to Lautaro Martinez says Funduls. Guerrero to DeMarco and Elise to Kvaratskhelia. Yeah, I like all of those moves. I'd actually discussed 2 of them in my team selection video yesterday. There's still possibilities for me, but Lewandowski could be benched. And if that's the case, I'd keep Harry Kane instead. But we should have the lineups now. No, we don't. Oh my god. Well, in 50 minutes then. Calma, calma. It is quite late here in sunny Spain. But yeah, of course, the deadline is at 8 p.m. UK time. And I'll be streaming live until that. If we do hit our Super Chat goal, I can also continue for even longer answering your questions for FPL, UCL Fantasy, and anything you want to talk about. What about Lewandowski, captain? He might be benched, mate. If he started, then yeah, no problems with it. But there is a chance he doesn't. Well, apparently, according to GoalM, Lewandowski, Rafinha, and Yamal all start. So we will find out very soon. Thank you, Henry Lopez. Saludos, Dylan de México. ¿Cambiarías Pacho por Nuno Méndez en la defensa? Es algo que discutí en mi team selection video y también hoy. No me gusta mucho porque Pacho es muy bueno para recuperar el balón. Tiene 95 para esta temporada en la Champions. Pero Nuno Méndez tiene esa habilidad de anotar goles y asistencias. Pero yo creo que es una buena transferencia, pero solo si estás muy contento con los otros 14 jugadores que tienes en tu equipo. Pero si no, creo que hay mejores transferencias para hacer. Koble to Donnarumma or Raya? I have Szczesny. I think for Matchday 14, Aston Villa have a better chance of a clean sheet than Arsenal. But you might have Nuno Mendes, Bacho, and Hakimi in your defensive line, at least 1 or 2 of them. Yo, Dylan, where are you? Yeah, so I'm in sunny Spain. 1 hour difference to the UK. So that's why it does say 9 p.m. And we do have the lineups out now. So let's pause this before I get copyrighted by UEFA. Naughty, naughty. So Borussia Dortmund, they have gone for Koble, Kuto, Anton, Bensabani, Nemecha, Guirassy, Gross, Bayer, Svensson, Sula, and Adeyemi. Whilst Barcelona have gone for Szczesny, Kubarsi, Araujo, Gavi, Lewandowski, Rafinha, Fermin Lopez, Yamal, De Jong, Koundé, and Gerard Martin, who replaces the injured Balde. So I was right about Inigo Martinez. Based on Hansi Flick's comments, it looked like he wanted to prevent that suspension for the first leg of the semi-finals. But Lewandowski does start, contrary to the reports that we saw earlier. He will be facing his former club. On the bench, we've got Meyer, Lotka, Oskan, Reina, Brandt, Duranville, Ryerson, Watchen, Mane, Kaba and Gittins for Borussia Dortmund, whilst Barcelona have Iñaki Peña, Kochen, Inigo Martinez, Ferran Torres, Pedri, Fati, Torre, Christensen, Pau Victor, Olmo, Eric Garcia, and for voice crack. So I am looking at that. Unfortunately, that Ferran Torres dream is already dead, and he hasn't started a single Champions League game this season, but you can keep Robert Lewandowski. That's the good thing about it. Let's also go to the Aston Villa PSG lineups. And before I read them out, I probably should have a bit of water before my voice cracks again, like a bloody boludo, as they say in Argentina. So Aston Villa have gone for Emi Martinez, Cash, Konsa, McGinn, Tielemans, Rashford, Luka Dean, Pau Torres, Onana, Rodgers, and Kamara. They haven't... What? Ollie Watkins on the bench again. I'm surprised by that. After the immediate impact he made against Southampton on Saturday, I thought he was kind of a shoo-in to start, so I'm quite surprised by that. PSG have gone for Donnarumma, Hakimi, Marquinhos, Kvaratskhelia, Fabian Ruiz, Dembele, Vitinha, Nuno Mendes, Barcola, Pacho, and João Neves. So I was asked about Barcola earlier. He does start this time, and Doué is on the bench. So for Aston Villa, Olsen, Proctor, Desassi, Mings, Barkley, Watkins, Asensio, Matson, Bogard, Bailey and Ramsey are all on the bench. So that means Bailey is now available again. And for PSG, Safonov, Tenas, Kimpembe, Gonzalo Ramos, Doué, Kang Lee, Lucas Hernandez, Mayulu, Zaire Emery, Lucas Beraldo and Mbaye. Those are the lineups and squads for all of the Tuesday matches. I covered Borussia Dortmund and Barcelona just a few minutes ago. Feel free to rewind, pause, and do whatever you want in this live stream. Then go back to the live section to have your questions and comments answered. But I think that pretty much settles it for me. It's probably worth going to the transfer section for a little bit. So I'm going to completely chalk this off now. So Lewandowski is going to play. That means he's staying in my team. Elise could still be kept. I don't think he's like a must sell or anything, but I am tempted to sell him and maybe go to 1 week punt like Morgan Rogers. If I wanted to kind of future-proof my team, then I could go for a PSG midfielder like Kvaratskhelia or maybe go for Vitinha, someone who's more likely to go through to the next round. Now, buying Nuno Mendes and Rodgers at the same time does seem a bit kind of contradictory, but they play today, and I can sub out my low-scoring players for those yet to play on the Wednesday, and that does seem pretty decent. In terms of the Tuesday-Wednesday balance, let's see. So I got Szczesny, Nuno Mendes, Pacho, and Hakimi, Koundé, Yamal, Rafinha, Dembele, Rodgers, and Lewandowski. So that's 10 Tuesday players and 5 on the Wednesday. Not terrible. Ultimately, you'd rather have more Tuesday players than the other way around. But yeah, does seem a bit Tuesday-centric. You could say maybe I'll go for a Wednesday option instead. I'll be honest, though, with defenders. I think Nuno Mendes is the best one I don't own. And if I look at the other options like Saliba, I think long-term he could be good if Arsenal go through. But otherwise, I just don't see a clean sheet this week. So maybe it's the wrong time to kind of invest in that Arsenal defence. But yeah, the other options would include DeMarco, who should start for Inter Milan, maybe Pavard. Maybe I just keep Kim Min-jae and make another transfer elsewhere. But for those that maybe are tuning in a bit late, you can't roll transfers in the knockout stages of UCL Fantasy, only in the group stages. That is specifically written in the rules, which I have covered in my videos, like the How to Play guide and the chip strategy video. So I'll be honest, I'm a bit kind of, I wouldn't say clueless, but I'm not fully certain on my transfers. I know I'd rather kind of like bolster my midfield, sell Elise to a Rodgers or Kvaratskhelia, but I don't see it as a massive upgrade, to be honest. And I do think Bayern Munich could pull it to extra time and penalties. I think that is a possibility. So selling Elise could backfire massively. The same goes for Harry Kane to Lautaro Martinez. So a lot is still up in the air for me. I think you could say, why not sell Courtois and Mbappe because they're 3-0 down? I would not recommend selling Mbappe this week, even if you've got like 3 or 4 other players who you think could be eliminated. You do get 5 free transfers to the first leg of the semi-finals. So yeah, my advice is to keep Mbappe. You could definitely sell like 1 or 2 Madrid players if you've gone all gung-ho on them, but I think that could be a nice differential having those Madrid players this week against Arsenal, because I do think they'll win this game, even if they don't win the tie overall. So that remains to be seen. And before I go back to your questions, this is kind of an updated Limitless squad. Yes, I've gone all in on Real Madrid with Rudiger, Bellingham, Vinicius and Mbappe. But with Lewandowski starting, that is going to change. I'm going to put Lewandowski back in there. Kane and Mbappe looks good. Maybe you could go for Vinicius over Harry Kane. Maybe. Let me know what you think of the live chat. And yeah, Ferran Torres, nah, he's not going to be there anymore. So it's either Saka or Rodgers for me in that midfield. At the moment, I'll go for Rodgers. I'm 0.4 million over budget with this Limitless. Of course, that's the main appeal of this chip. I've gone for Martinez as the Tuesday goalkeeper this time and Sommer on the Wednesday, but Madrid do have a slightly better chance of a clean sheet according to the odds, which I have shown you before. But this is roughly what I'd go to on the Limitless if I still had the chip intact right now. Alberto says, Due puede ser una buena opción si empieza. Estoy de acuerdo, pero desafortunadamente está en el banco y va a jugar Barcola en su lugar. Gracias, Ignacio. Grande Dylan. ¿Cómo ves a Prince Harry, Olise, Saka out por Lautaro, Kvaratskhelia y Bellingham? Y hay un riesgo en vender a Saka por Bellingham, pero para esta jornada me gusta mucho. Y con Harry Kane, como dije en inglés recién, si vendiendo a Harry Kane para Lautaro o viceversa es complicado. Puede ir en cualquier manera, pero me gustan las transferencias. Kvaratskhelia para mí es una buena opción a largo plazo. Yo creo que para Saint-Germain avanzará a las semifinales, así que para mí está muy bien. Pero hay algunas dudas de tus transferencias, más que nada con Harry Kane a Lautaro Martínez. Vitinha o Yamal, I prefer Yamal. Bellingham, Kvaratskhelia or Barcola. I prefer... For this week, Bellingham, if I'm honest, I do prefer him. Looking at the lineup, should I go for PSG or into defender if I need to make one change? Depends on your coverage already. So if you've got Bastoni and Hakimi, for example, then it's a bit difficult. But I would favour the PSG defenders because Pacho and Marquinhos are ball recovery machines. Then you've got the attacking threat from the wing-backs, which I really like. So I think I would favour the PSG ones, despite the fact that in terms of clean sheet odds, Inter Milan would be higher. Yeah, Nuno Mendes is starting as covered before, so no real surprises in the PSG lineup. Best Tuesday captain, I have answered your question before, Joao. Maybe actually, to be fair, might have been someone else. I think it was Vera. Yes, for me, it's Rafinha. Lewandowski is another shout. And speaking of which, I think it's worth going to my predictions. Let's go to Predict 6 and change this a little bit because I did actually move Lewandowski on from this because there were rumours of him being benched. So who will score first? I'll go for Lewandowski. Will Barcelona keep a clean sheet? I'll say no. And man of the match, I think Rafinha will win it this time. I think he should have won it in the first leg, to be fair, but there you go. Barcelona to score first. Will there be a goal in the first half? Yes. So I have gone all in on Barcelona. They actually did quite well for me in the first leg. I put the booster on them as well. So I think that won't change too much. PSG Aston Villa, very tough game to call. I think Villa could get a result tonight, but ultimately go out. I think PSG just have that extra goal cushion. That late goal was really important by Nuno Mendes. I've put Aston Villa to score first. I'm not completely sure about that. Will there be a goal in the second half? I put yes. Will this match go to extra time? I've said no. Will someone score a penalty in this match, excluding penalty shootouts? I've said no. Will Asensio score? He's on the bench. He is playing his former club. He's on loan from there, but I've put no. So yeah, those are my predictions for the Tuesday games, and I've also gone for Madrid 3, Arsenal 1. I'll take that if it means Arsenal go through, but yeah, I'd rather have a win. Inter Milan 1, Bayern Munich 2, but that isn't locked in, and once those lineups are out tomorrow, I'll be finalising my predictions if I actually remember, because I'll probably be out and yeah, just visiting some beaches or something. But there you go. Those are my predictions for now. There might be a late change, especially for the Aston Villa PSG match. But let's now go to my UCL Fantasy team again. I will not be locking in any transfers soon because I'll be honest, I need to think about what I want to do. Best player from Arsenal, I think it's Saka. Marino is probably a close second, and I do like Saliba for the ball recoveries. He made 11 against Real Madrid in the first leg, so yeah, probably Saka, Saliba, Marino in that order right now. Raya is probably fourth. Due should be starting, says Insane Gamer. Yeah, but Barcola's a good player. And I do think they've got that squad depth. But yeah, Doué's a really impressive player, I have to say that. Good to see you, David. Kvaratskhelia or Mendes? I prefer Mendes as UCL fantasy asset. Barra says I'm captaining Yamal. All the best with that one. Garassi and Yamal or Kane and Adeyemi, says Mario Santos. Garassi and Yamal for me. Naem says I have Kane, Lewandowski and Garassi. Who to sell for Mbappe? Probably Garassi, but he did score a brace against Barcelona earlier this season in the same stadium. So, Captain Rafinha or Lewandowski? I prefer Rafinha. It is close though, and obviously they both got 14 points in the first leg. I think obviously there was a bit of BS with the Player of the Match award personally, but he did score a brace after all. It is very, very close. I don't think there's much in it, but I do favour Rafinha because of the midfield position as well. Kane or Rodrigo? I'd lean towards Kane. Deshacemos de Olise o Kim Min-jae. Si tuviera que elegir uno, sería Kim Min-jae. Why am I here? Great name. Says, hey Dylan, planning on transferring out Kim Min-jae and Calhanoglu for Bastoni and Saka. I like those moves. Now, Calhanoglu is on penalties, so there is a chance he can shithouse a goal out of nowhere. And Kim Min-jae can get ball recoveries, but you are preventing, well, a direct clash there between Inter Milan and Bayern Munich. I do think Bayern can turn things around, or at least give Inter Milan a scare. But once again, those lineups tomorrow will be crucial. Overall, I'd say yes. Bellingham to Kvaratskhelia or Elise to Rodgers to fund Koundé for Kim Min-jae? I prefer Elise to Rodgers. It's not a great move long term. I think Bayern Munich are more likely to go through than Aston Villa, but I also think Rodgers has a higher ceiling in Matchday 14. How many players per team can be in your squad? It's 5. Then for the semi-finals, it's 6. And for the Champions League final, it becomes 8. So nothing's changed from the last couple of years. That's also addressed in my How to Play UCL Fantasy Guide. Barav says Villa 2, PSG 0. That would mean a penalty shootout. Yeah, Rudiger's a shout. I think they can keep a clean sheet against Arsenal, but I've gone for Arsenal to score in my prediction. 3-1 Madrid I've put. Yeah. The thing with Rudiger is, during his Chelsea days, he was very good for ball recoveries. We haven't really seen that out Real Madrid, but we'll wait and see. 3-1 Arsenal, escape on penalties. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if it goes to penalties, I think Madrid have the advantage being at home, having the Champions League experience. And I think this season, Raya has been quite shaky with penalties overall, which is quite surprising because in the last campaign, he saved Benrahma's penalty against West Ham, and he was a shootout hero against Porto in the round of 16. Garassi out, Mbappe in? I'd say yes, but I do like Garassi. João Miranda says Garassi to Rashford. I prefer Garassi, to be honest. I think the one Aston Villa player I look at is probably Morgan Rogers. But if you are feeling bullish on Rashford, don't let me discourage you because I think Villa can score a goal or two. I've gone for 2-2 in my game. So, yeah, it's not a bad shout. I just think Garassi has been very consistent this season. And I also agree with the last part of your statement. I also don't know what to do with my transfers right now. Will players in extra time or penalty shootout get points? In extra time, yes, but penalty shootouts, no. The only thing what could happen is a goalkeeper makes like 2 or 3 penalty shootout saves and they win player of the match based on that. So from that perspective, it technically does influence points, but you don't get points for scoring a penalty or saving a penalty. Bellingham or Kvaratskhelia? Bellingham for matchday 14, in my opinion. Transferring Kvaratskhelia as a differential, his ownership is 2%. I do like him long term, and as I mentioned before, I think PSG will go through. But at Villa Park, I'm just not entirely sure if he will be getting a goal or assist. Then again, he was player of the match in the first leg, so it's not a bad shout. Garassi captain. It is bold. I don't think it's a terrible pick, but I would favour Barcelona. Hey Dylan, hope you're doing great. Thoughts on captaining Dembele as differential? I'd personally rank Yamal, maybe not Yamal. I'd rank Lewandowski and Rafinha higher, but Dembele would be third for my Tuesday captaincy options. I think Rodgers is also up there in the top 5. Thoughts on Kane to Lautaro? I've said this in English and Spanish. I think it can go either way. So it's a risky pick. I might do it myself, but I'd say it's more unlikely right now than it is me pulling the trigger and going for Lautaro Martinez. I think I'll keep Harry Kane. We are at the stage where we have to go with our own choices and who we think will go through. Yeah, I agree. And also, if you can, go for those 1 week punts to separate yourself from the crowd, because ultimately our teams will be quite similar the further we go in this competition. which is quite natural. Kvaratskhelia versus Rodgers versus Barcola this match day. Rodgers is first for me. I'd lean towards Kvaratskhelia over Barcola, but not by much. I think Rodgers is number one, though, for match day 14. Sell Kane or Elise? Probably Elise, and I'd go to Yamal. Yeah, that looks like a really good move. Edgar says Yamal or Nuno Mendes? Yamal. Garassi or Vinicius, says Karbub. Probably Vinicius. Just bear in mind, obviously, Madrid are 3-0 down, and Vinicius, to be fair, both of them are suspension risks. One more yellow from either, and they will miss the first leg of the semi-finals, but either way, Dortmund are probably out. Tengo que vender a Dumfries, ya tengo a Bastoni, Koundé, Hakimi y Nuno Mendes. Cubarsí es buena opción. Yo tenía Cubarsí en esta temporada y fue muy decepcionante. No me gustó para nada. Si quieres un defensor de Barcelona, que creo que ya lo tienes, Koundé es el mejor. Para mí es... te entiendo porque ya tienes los 4 mejores defensores para la jornada 14. Para la jornada 14 creo que Rüdiger no es una mala opción, pero los merengues son bastante flojos en la defensa y también están perdiendo 3-0 en este momento, así que no es una mala idea, pero yo elegiría otro defensor como Di Marco o Pavard de Inter Milan. Best midfielders for Wildcard. It is covered in my video. The best team for Matchday 14. I went for the best Wildcard and limitless squads. So I would go for Rafinha, Yamal, one of Saka or Bellingham. I think long-term Saka is probably the safer pick. Dembele. And I would take a one-week punt on Rodgers. Then you can move him on to Kvaratskhelia. I hope the Villa game goes to pens, needs some excitement. I think either the Villa PSG game or Bayern Inter will go to pens, and I think Bayern Inter is more likely. Add the Emi to Kvaratskhelia, says Swiss Birdie. Yeah, I like that. It's a good transfer. Kvaratskhelia, Dembele or Yamal? Dembele. Top Inter defender to pick? Bastoni, which I said last week and also across all my videos recently. Rodrigo or Thuram? Rodrigo, but that's a close one. What about goalkeepers? I think overall the best goalkeeper pairing is Sommer and Szczesny. The problem is they will face each other in the semi-finals if Inter Milan and Barcelona progress. So from that perspective, I did talk about going for Szczesny and Raya, but I don't like Raya this week. I'll be completely honest. Even if Arsenal, you know, they could lose 3-1, they go through, but I just don't see many points in matchday 14. That could go either way, Spicy. I think Mbappe is probably the better asset right now, but I do like Vinicius still. You think Garassi as a captain's a good idea? It's not my favourite, but from Dortmund players, he's undoubtedly number one. I'd still rank Lewandowski, Rafinha, Dembele, and Rodgers higher, but Garassi might be 5th in my Campsy list. I think Dortmund will score. Kim Min-jae or Rüdiger? I think for matchday 14 only, it'd be Rüdiger. Kim Min-jae is more likely to go through to the next round, and he gets more ball recovery, so it is a very close call, actually. But I would favour Rüdiger for matchday 14 only. Insane Gamer says opinions on this team. Yeah, I like the look of it. I'm just not sure who you have on your bench. But the starting 11 is solid. Rafinha captain is something I agree with. I think with defenders, it's kind of a shame because I think Bacho, Nuno Mendes and Hakimi are 3 of the best options, but tripling up on PSG against Villa away, it's not something I'm a big fan of personally, but your defense is good. You've got Bastoni in there. You've got Koundé. I have no complaints, really. Thuram's a nice differential. He's not my favourite player, which is why I don't have him. But yeah, he's been in decent form recently. FPL K-Max says, thoughts on going Cubarsí over Koundé as a Kim Min-jae replacement, so that I have the option of going Elise to Kvaratskhelia. I do think Koundé's worth the extra million. I know that it's a sacrifice and a compromise to go for Kvaratskhelia, but I'll be honest, for matchday 14 at least, I don't think there's a massive difference between Elise and Kvaratskhelia. I don't think it's actually worth a transfer this week. That's just my opinion, and I could be wrong. Kvaratskhelia was brilliant in the first leg, completing 9 dribbles, getting 11 points in UCL Fantasy, but yeah, it's not a bad idea. I just don't think Cubarsí is a great UCL Fantasy pick, and I was wrong about him in the summer. Samuel Hoyo says, Kim Min-jae, Rüdiger or Asensio for this match day? Rüdiger. Best defenders, I'd say Bastoni, Hakimi, Nuno Mendes, Koundé, and the 5th one is close. Probably Rüdiger for this match day only, but long term that could be a bad pick. Yeah, Rodgers is in my top 5. He's actually 4th, so Rafinha's first, I think. Lewandowski second. Dembele third. Rodgers fourth. And probably Guirassy fifth. That is my Tuesday captaincy list right now. Thoughts on Kane to Lautaro Martinez? I covered this earlier, mate. It can go either way, and I think it's a big risk. I'll probably keep Kane. I can't guarantee it. I might end up going for Lautaro, but the more likely scenario right now is that I keep Harry Kane, which probably informs the answer to your question there as well. ¿Cambiarías a Olise por Barcola o Kvaratskhelia? Como dije en inglés, recién no veo una diferencia mayor entre Kvaratskhelia y Olise en esta temporada o en esta jornada. Así que no estoy seguro de esa transferencia. Olise or Kvaratskhelia, it's close. I think long-term Kvaratskhelia is probably slightly better, but for matchday 14, I don't see a massive difference. I'd lean towards Kvaratskhelia for the long-term aspect of it. Ezra says, sell Lautaro to Raya or keep Emiliano Martinez, have Szczesny. Sell Lautaro? Oh, okay, I see. So you got Martinez and Szczesny, not ideal. Now, Raya is a good goalkeeper to have, but I just don't think Arsenal keep a clean sheet in matchday 14. So that's the problem with your moves. I'd prefer Sommer, but unfortunately, he would clash with Szczesny in the semi-finals. So good question, but arguably I'd say keep what you have. I'll be honest, I think maybe keep what you have. If you really want to make a goalkeeper move, you could be a bit kind of smart about it and go to Courtois, as Real Madrid have the best chance for clean sheet in matchday 14. But if you're backing Arsenal to score, then go for David Raya. So, hi Dylan, only joined the chat. Are you using your wildcard? I used it in matchday 13. So right now I've only got 3 transfers available. And if you got the wildcard still, I mean, it's team dependent, right? If you're happy with what you've got, I'd recommend using it in matchday 15 or 16 instead. And for those with both chips, the Limitless and the wildcard, my recommendation is Limitless matchday 13 and wildcard 14. David says, Nuno, Hakimi, Asensio, Kim Min-jae need a defense for Balde. Not sure if to bet for Inter Bayern. Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. I think that game's quite tough to call. You've already got some of the best defenders. Maybe Koundé, just go like for like. I think Pacho's still decent because of ball recoveries. I just don't like tripling up on PSG defensively against Aston Villa away. I do think the Villains will score. Did you make a wildcard in my best team video? Yes, I did. I'll try to show you again. It would be quite similar to what I've got right now. Just a few changes because I only wildcarded last week. But yeah, I did make a best wildcard team in my best team video yesterday. The marker was so good 2 seasons ago in fantasy. Yeah, when they reached the Champions League final, right? Yeah. His minutes have always been a bit of a concern, though. And I think his minutes will be managed in the next couple of matches. So he's a risky pick. I have to say that. Keep or sell Kane? I'm leaning towards keeping him. FPL no name. Yeah. DeMarco is expected to start there. Leo. But his minutes could be managed according to several sources like Gazzetta dello Sport, I think it is, or Sporto. Hey, Dylan, DeMarco will play. So yeah, that question's been covered as well. Rodrigo for Kane or Lautaro? That's close. I think selling one of Kane or Lautaro could backfire. And I find it very difficult to call, but I do lean towards Kane. And I actually went for Bayern Munich to win this match 2-1. We'll wait and see how that ages, but I'm quite conflicted about that game in particular. So if I had to pick one, it's probably Lautaro. But just bear in mind, he obviously scored in the first leg. He's more likely to go through based on the first leg result. But it can go either way. Probably Pavard, if you want to play it safe. DeMarco could have his minutes managed, so I'd lean towards Pavard right now. Twisted Parky puts his squad: Mbappe, Kane, Lewandowski, Saka, Yamal, Dembele, Rafinha, Hakimi, Bastoni, Timber, Rudiger, Szczesny, Kim Min-jae, Hakan, Courtois. Thoughts? I think Saka, Rudiger, Timber, Kim Min-jae, Kane, Courtois, Hakan, any can go. Yeah, I get that. It's kind of a difficult one. I think the second leg, especially at this stage of the competition in the quarterfinals, is very difficult to kind of think of your transfers because on one end, you want to set your team up for the long term. But on the other hand, you might think Rudiger will be eliminated, but you'll get a clean sheet against Arsenal. So it's hard to strike that balance, and that's where the wildcard could be very useful for those who still have it. I think with your team, I would sell Kim Min-jae, I believe, and possibly Rudiger, because you've got Courtois already. So I think selling Kim Min-jae and Rudiger might be in your best interest. And you could go to Nuno Mendes and Koundé. That's what I'd recommend. As for your third transfer, I'll be honest, mate, I have no bloody clue, and I'm in a similar boat myself. But hopefully, towards the end of the stream, we'll both have a better idea of what we want to finalise. Fermin differential for Elise. Not a bad shout as well. I just think with Barcelona, the midfield and forward line is settled. Rafinha, Yamal, and Lewandowski. I think that is more than enough. Is no interplayers too risky? There's always an element of risk, but is it a must-have, essential? No. And I don't think Inter Milan have many like standout fantasy options, like Madrid have Mbappe and Vinicius, Bellingham last season, Arsenal have Saka, Saliba at the defensive line. You know, every team has like a standout pick. With Inter, probably Bastoni or Sommer. He's probably the best one, actually. But then with the Szczesny factor, it does make you kind of less drawn towards Sommer. So there is an element of risk, yeah. I think Inter are a good team, but offensively, they don't score many goals. Elise to Dembele, thanks Dylan. Yeah, I'd recommend that. Hey Dylan, best Kobel replacement if I also have Sommer. Well, from that perspective, I think Szczesny looks good for this match day maybe, but he will clash with Sommer. So possibly you'd be looking at Donnarumma. Kim Min-jae or Bastoni, I have Kane as the striker. Bastoni. I'd still go for Bastoni. It's not ideal because they play tomorrow, so that means you can't sub them out. I mean, you'll probably end up having both of them in your 11, but could Bastoni get 3-4 points and Kane scores? Yeah, it can happen. Kim Min-jae to Rudiger or Guirassy to Vinicius? I'll be honest, that's a very close one and a good question. I would lean towards Kim Min-jae to Rudiger, but very close. Is Kuto a good idea? I'll be honest, no, because I think Dortmund will concede and you would need an assist from Kuto to make that transfer worthwhile. Kim Min-jae or Saliba? I prefer Saliba, but I think Bayern Munich and Arsenal will concede. So Primsy, good question. I prefer Rodgers for matchday 14, and I've been very consistent on that. Long-term, though, there's no doubt that PSG midfielders like Vitinha and Kvaratskhelia are better long-term investments. But if you are able to go for a one-week punt, I'd highly recommend Morgan Rodgers. Barcola, Rodgers or Elise? I would go for Rodgers for matchday 14 only once more. Yeah, Rodrigo's underrated. He always goes under the radar. Now, he hasn't had the best of seasons. I think Saka, by the way, has more goal contributions in like, 13 or maybe 20 fewer games or something. I don't know the exact stats, but he can be a difference maker. He has done it before in the Champions League against Man City and Chelsea. Hopefully he doesn't tomorrow. Yeah, but I don't know. Unfortunately, De Vrij is probably not going to start. I did go through predicted lineups earlier. I might go through it one more time. According to Kicker and UEFA.com, they've gone for Bastoni, Acerbi and Pavard as the three centre-backs. I prefer Asensio over Timber for this match day, MSB 10. But long-term, I think Timber is the better asset. It's just, if you are able to go for that one-week punt, I think Asensio has a better chance of a clean sheet. Thank you, Paredes, as always. I have no PSG assets and I own Dean, Rodgers and Watkins. I need to replace both Dean and Watkins in my... as I'm leaning to attack with Rodgers. My other forwards are Guirassy and Vinicius. Yeah, good question. I definitely do the same transfers. So I would do Luka Dean to Nuno Mendes or Hakimi, since you've got no PSG players. And I'm assuming you've got an Inter Milan defender like Bastoni. You probably have an Arsenal Madrid defender in there. Koundé. That's just obviously assumptions of mine. So that would be my Dean replacement, my recommendation for that. And for Watkins, it's probably between Mbappe... I'd say Lewandowski still. He could be subbed off early, but I think Lewandowski has a very high ceiling against Dortmund. I think he'll score. So I'd recommend one of Nuno Mendes or Hakimi and Lewandowski to replace Luka Dean and Watkins there. Yeah, that is my current preference, Federico. I might go to Lewandowski, but I think from Minutes' perspective, Rafinha is probably a bit more secure because there were reports earlier that indicated that Lewandowski felt some discomfort. So I wouldn't be surprised if around 60, 70 minutes we see Ferran Torres come on for Robert Lewandowski, especially if the game is kind of tied up. Yeah, for me, Bastoni is the best Inter defender. He is nailed on. De Vrij is probably not going to start. And he did start every single Champions League game until, what was it, the second leg of the round of 16. and he was in the lineup, but then was drawn out kind of late on. But it looks like a Serbi will take his place. They are competing for the same spot. Bastoni, though, plays every single game. Lautaro Martinez or Guirassy? I'd lean towards Lautaro, but there's not much in it. And I think Guirassy could score today. Guirassy for Lautaro or Vinicius? For this match day only, I think Vinicius might have the highest ceiling, to be fair. But long term, I think Lautaro is the best one. So it's a very close call. But if I had to pick one for this match day, it's probably Vinicius. Yamal or Kvaratskhelia? Yamal for me, Joao. Already have Dembele, Rafinha and Lewandowski. Yeah, still Yamal for me. All right, so drop a like on the stream if you haven't already. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. I am on holiday and I've still been able to get out the best team, combining the wildcard and limitless squads, my own team selection. I did a deadline stream on Saturday for FPL. And when I'm back, I'll be recording more videos, maybe a best free hit team for Double Game Week 33, the best wildcard team perhaps, my team selection, and then going live on Saturday. There might even be a double live stream on Saturday, so keep your eyes peeled for that, with the return of reaction streams as well. So there's a lot more content headed your way from now until the end of the season. And yeah, just constant content, always looking to improve. The new graphics, of course, that I've built recently and also assimilated into my content. Hopefully you do enjoy it and find it useful. The same goes for the injury updates, team news and suspensions. So this is my current squad without making any transfers. I activated the wildcard last week, and with 3 available moves, I am looking at buying Rodgers as a 1-week punt in the midfield. Up front, I'm quite happy to keep what I have with Lewandowski starting. And I might refresh this just so you can see the players who are starting and stuff like that, the green icons. So as you can see there, it's a full house for me. No one is benched, which is great to see. But decisions need to be made here. I would like to get Nuno Mendes in my defensive line. I don't like that PSG triple up defensively against Aston Villa away and then against either Arsenal or Real Madrid in the semi-finals. But they are very good UCL Fantasy defenders in their own right. So Rafinha captain is probably going to happen, but Lewandowski is my kind of alternative. Bit template and boring perhaps, but I think they are the best options. I've got my Wednesday players on the bench. And what I'm going to do here is show you my transfer plans. So Elise out for Rodgers, who also came in quite clutch for me on the bench boost in Double Game Week 32. I needed that because, spoiler alert, it wasn't great. I think the rest of the midfield is fine. Maybe I could be a bit clever and do Saka to Bellingham, but that might end up, resulting in me booking in too many transfers, because let's say Real Madrid and Aston Villa are eliminated and also Bayern Munich. I would have Mbappe, Bellingham and Courtois out. Rodgers, that's 4. Kim Min-jae, 5. And that already uses up my 5 free transfers for matchday 15, which isn't the end of the world, but ideally you would have a full 50-man squad for the semi-finals all locked in place. So I think the only midfield transfer I'm looking to make is Elise out, and Rodgers is the front runner at the moment. The same goes for like Kim Min-jae to Rudiger, and I've already got Courtois in there, so what I'll probably end up doing if I really want to replace Kim Min-jae is going for Pacho. Oh, sorry, I've already got Pacho, you idiot. Nuno Mendes. Could go for DeMarco or Pavard, but I do think Bayern Munich score. Selling Elise is a risk. I think anything you do at this stage, if you're selling a player who's expected to start tonight, or who is starting tonight, or predicted to start tomorrow, it's going to be a massive risk. Like Harry Kane, Lautaro, selling these players, Elise, it can all go really tits up and south. But these are my current plans. Buying Rodgers and Nuno Mendes, and then with a third transfer, I have no bloody idea. I wish I could roll and then have 7-8 free transfers for the first leg of the semi-finals and then know exactly what I want to do. But right now, I'm kind of in limbo. The only transfer I'm kind of set on is replacing Elise, and that could be a monumental failure by the end of it. Let's go for some different super chats that have just come in the building. Thank you, Haribo. I'm torn between Adeyemi and Lewis Skelly, or Timber for free, or Rodgers and Saliba for a -4. My favourite duo is Rodgers and Saliba. For a -4 though, I'm not entirely sure, especially with Saliba this match day. I think Madrid will score. So I would... Yeah, good question. Out of Adeyemi and Lewis Skelly, by the way, I would go for Adeyemi. I'm guessing that might be a duo question though, right? So you buy Adeyemi and Lewis Kelly for free, or you've got them in your squad, getting Timber for free, or Rodgers and Saliba for a -4. I lean towards Adeyemi and Lewis Kelly because of the -4 factor. Yeah, Carlos Augusto is not in the lineup. Actually, let me double check that for you because I could be chatting absolute nonsense. So let's close these. Yeah, let's close these. Yeah, we can close this as well. And then, yeah, just for those that aren't aware, Emre Can and Chukwuemeka are missing from the players who traveled to the team hotel for Borussia Dortmund. But of course, the lineup is out anyway. So, according to UEFA.com, they have gone for... Yeah, Darmian. Darmian was the other wing-back. And also DeMarco, right? Yeah, DeMarco. So yeah, Carlos Augusto will probably be on the bench, as far as I'm aware. Kicker also went for the same thing in terms of the wing-backs of DeMarco and Darmian. So yeah, feel free to check these lineups again. I have gone through them earlier. So I'm going to put this link in the live chat. And I think there's one more super chat that I haven't gone through. So thank you to Domenico. Hola Dylan, saludos. Tres transferencias, Kobel, Sommer, Hakimi, Koundé, Mendes, Marquinhos, De Vrij, Odegaard, Rafinha, Yamal, Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, Thuram, Mbappé y Lewandowski. Uno de Vrij, Bastoni, dos Kobel, tres... Sí, Bastoni va a empezar el partido, De Vrij no, según Kicker, un medio de Alemania y también UEFA.com. Así que yo creo que Acerbi va a jugar en el lugar de Vrij. Así que yo mantendría a Bastoni y es mejor vender a De Vrij. Ya tienes a Koundé, Mendes, Marquinhos, Hakimi. Así que yo creo que De Vrij para Koundé es una buena transferencia para vos. Dos Kobel. Sí, yo creo que Donnarumma o Szczesny son buenas opciones. El problema con comprar a Szczesny es que si Barcelona y Inter Milán ganen y llegan a las semifinales, van a jugar entre ellos mismos. Así que va a tener dos arqueros jugando en el mismo día para la jornada 15. Pero para esta jornada me gusta mucho comprar a Szczesny para Kobel. Y para la tercera transferencia es difícil porque tienes un buen equipo y ya cualquier jugador que vendes puede ir el otro lado, puede hacer un mayor riesgo, digamos. Yo diría que la tercera transferencia es mejor vender a Thuram y yo iría por Harry Kane o Lautaro Martínez. Pero te digo, la verdad, Thuram es una buena opción y quizás estoy equivocado en recomendar esa transferencia, pero yo diría De Vrij a Koundé, Kobel a Szczesny y vender a Thuram por... Yo diría Harry Kane. Pavard o Darmian, says Ivan Yu. Pavard. DeMarco or Bastoni? Bastoni. Yeah, DeMarco should start, yeah. Bayer is starting, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. So if we go for the lineups one more time, I've covered them already, but just to refresh our memories. So Borussia Dortmund have gone for Kobel in goal, Sula, Anton and Bensabani, Couto, Gross, Mecha and Svensson, with Adeyemi, Garassi and Bayer. Barcelona have gone for Szczesny, Gerard Martin, Araujo, Kubarsi, Koundé, De Jong, Gavi, Fermin Lopez, Rafinha, Lewandowski and Yamal. So just the one kind of surprise benching, you could say, of Inigo Martinez. But I did say that towards the beginning of the stream as a possibility because of the suspension risk. For Aston Villa, Paris Saint-Germain, Emi Martinez in goal, Cash, Konsa, Pau Torres, Luka Dean, Anana, Kamara, McGinn, Tielemans, Rodgers, and Rashford. PSG have gone for Donnarumma, Nuno Mendes, Marquinhos, who is back from suspension, Bacho, Hakimi, Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha, João Neves, Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, and Barcola. So Doué is on the bench. All of that was covered earlier as well. So, yeah, let's now go back to Predict 6. Let's try to lock in that prediction. What are you thinking about both games tonight? I've gone for 2-2 Villa PSG, but I'm a bit conflicted about it. I've also gone for Dortmund 1, Barcelona 3. And yeah, all the different kind of predictions they've added to the quarterfinal stage. Which team will score first? I've put Aston Villa. I've put a goal in the second half. Will the game go to extra time? I've put no. Will there be a penalty goal excluding shootouts? I've put no. Will Asensio score? I've also put no. And then, yeah, for Dortmund, Barcelona, I did go for Rafinha man of the match and stuff like that. I might change it. Also for Lewandowski to score first. Barcelona to be on the score sheet first. Goal in the first half. So, yeah, that is pretty much explanatory. No clean sheet for Barcelona. That is my prediction for this game. I think Dortmund can score 1 or 2. So that's what I've gone for. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat. For tomorrow, I've gone for Madrid 3, Arsenal 1. I'll probably change it, and hopefully Arsenal can make it more comfortable than that. And Inter Milan 1, Bayern Munich 2. We'll wait and see. And if that's the case, why sell Elise and Kim Min-jae, you might ask? Very good question. I think it's very difficult to lock in your transfers at this stage of the competition. Maybe the most difficult of any round in the Champions League this season. So I will be looking at my transfers very soon, but I need to actually figure out what I'm actually going to do. And some polls will be very useful, I think. Nick says, cheap Kim Min-jae alternative. Well, Lewis Skelly is very cheap at 4 million. I think Bacho at a similar price is my favourite. Yeah. Buy Saliba or Pavard? Probably Pavard if I had to pick one. How many transfers we have next match day? 5. So for every first leg, the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and the final, you get 5 transfers. For the second leg, you get 3. So very easy to remember. Should I transfer out Çalhanoğlu? Depends who you're missing. So, for example, if you don't have Rafinha, Dembele, or Yamal, I'd highly recommend it. Even to Rodgers, I think that's a good move for this week only. Would you sell Kane and Kim for some Inter players? Possibly Kim and Jai, but I think with Kane, I'd keep him. That's my current preference right now. Yeah. Sell Guirassy or keep? I'd lean towards sell, but he's a good option still. I don't think there's a big difference between him and Lautaro, for example, this week. Guirassy or Lautaro? Probably Lautaro, but not much in it. Do we know which semi-finals play Tuesday, Wednesday concerning goalkeeper picks? We know who's going to play each other. So the winner of Barcelona-Dortmund will face Inter Milan or Bayern. So Szczesny and Sommer will clash in the semi-finals, which is why I've made a big point of it in my videos, like the best team. And of course, the winner of Arsenal-Madrid will face PSG or Aston Villa, so they will play on the same day. Kvaratskhelia for Adeyemi? Yeah, probably I'd do it, yeah. Sell Guirassy for Kane or Lautaro? I'd lean towards Kane. Top 3 captains? Yeah, Rafinha first, Lewandowski second, Dembele third, Yamal fourth. I'd actually put Rodgers fourth this time. Then maybe Guirassy fifth, Yamal sixth. That's my current ranking. Yamal's a good option though. He might be a bit underrated by me. Yeah, Guirassy or Vinicius? I'd go for Vinicius there, Juan. Barra says Kane or Lautaro. As covered just a few minutes ago, it would be Kane for me. Barcola to Kvaratskhelia. I'd probably keep Barcola. I don't see a big difference between both of them. If you're really keen on Kvaratskhelia though, then don't let me talk you out of it. Kvaratskhelia for Jude. I'd keep Bellingham this week. I know Madrid, you know, the odds are against them, but I do like Madrid assets for this week. Is Rudiger one of the best defenders this week? I think so, to be fair, yeah. Paredes says selling Watkins to Lewandowski or gambling Watkins can make something and attack with Adeyemi out to Martinelli, exploiting the spaces. Yeah, I think Martinelli will be crucial on, you know, in the transitions, and he has scored some classic counter-attack goals away from home in the Prem and the Champions League, but it's still going to be Lewandowski for me, mate. I'd highly recommend that. Thank you, Bran. Thanks for the stream, Dylan. Who are your favourite limitless punts? Rodgers in the midfield. I'd say Bellingham, Rudiger, Vinicius. So basically a lot of Real Madrid players who might be eliminated by the end, hopefully. Elise or Yamal? Yamal. Rodrigo or Thuram? For this match day, I prefer Rodrigo. Bastoni or DeMarco? Bastoni. Real question was whom was home first semi-final? Yeah, I believe Arsenal are home first for the semi-final. Yeah. With the others, I need to double check, to be fair, but I'm not really too bothered about that. The most important thing is Do you have clashes? You know, which teams face each other and, you know, your goalkeeper pairings and stuff like that. David says locked in, Elise to Hakan, Kim Min-jae to Saliba, Balde to Koundé. I went for ball recoveries and differential Çalhanoğlu, hoping Kane is enough. He shoots a lot. Best of luck, everyone. It's good to have your transfers kind of sorted. Elise to Çalhanoğlu is very 50-50. I think normally I'd lean towards Elise, but with the current, you know, predicament, I understand the transfer. Yeah, Kim Min-jae to Saliba might not be good for this match day, but long term, if Arsenal go through, that's a very solid transfer. And yeah, Koundé is the best Barcelona defender to replace Balde, so that looks really enticing. Thank you. Big shout out to Paredes once again. You gifted 10 memberships in the last stream, and you've only gone and done it again. So big shout out to Paredes. Obviously, Napstar's in the recent one, but yeah, just a monster effort by you, Paredes, and also with the super chats earlier. So thank you very much. So big up to Christoph, to Ayushi, to Linos J, to Markichu, to Simon Lawrence, Salim Hussein, Audrey, Nehal, Terry McClaney, is it? Terry McClaney, sorry, my eyesight is terrible. And also to WB4823. So big shout out. That means you'll get early access to my videos amongst many other perks. That means priority replies in comments and also in the live chats. So you will always be kind of, you know, prioritized from that sense, and also get many other perks. All of those are listed in the description, and you can also check it out on my Patreon page. Bastoni or Pacho? Already have Hakimi and Mendes. I'd recommend Bastoni. In isolation, I think Pacho's better for ball recoveries, but I don't like that triple up in the PSG defense. So it would be Bastoni for me. A Serbi or Skelly long term? A Serbi. DeMarco in for Kim Min-jae. His minutes could be managed, as I mentioned a few times in the stream, so take that with a pinch of salt. I think he is a risky pick, but he does have a high ceiling. So yeah, thank you, David, as well. Legendary sticker, if I dare say so myself. Kane, Bayer, or Garassi? Kane. Elise or Hakan out for Rodgers? I still prefer Elise. I don't know why. I've gone for a Bayern Munich win, which I'm not completely sure about, to be fair. And Çalhanoğlu is on penalty, so it could go either way. Perks are perks are well worth it, guys. Thank you, Let's Talk Vinyl, another channel member, of course, in the house. Thank you to those who have signed up, and of course to Paredes for gifting the memberships. I can't even speak. I'm so excited. Bastoni or Pavard? Bastoni. I think Pavard is better for ball recoveries, but long-term Bastoni is a bit more nailed on, and he got player of the match in the first leg. Elise to Saka, it's close. I'd probably do it, but Saka does look a bit off it in terms of the match sharpness. That will come with time. But yeah, I think once Saka gets clicking, he's going to be one of the best midfielders in UCL Fantasy. Should I keep Guerrero and Bastoni? Bastoni, yes. Guerrero could be benched. That's just my opinion and based on what I've seen. So the German outlet Kicker and UEFA.com don't have Guerrero in the lineup. So my recommendation is to sell him. Elise for Tielemans or Barella? That's quite close. I'd probably keep Elise, to be honest. Yeah. Give me free suggestions on high-risk, high-reward selections. Rodgers, Vinicius, and Rudiger. I mean, Rudiger might have high ownership, to be fair, but people will be kind of like selling them rather than buying based on the predicament of the first leg. So that does spring to mind. Did he choose them for a member gift? It's random. Same when I gift them, because every month I give 10 memberships. So at the beginning of every month in UCL Fantasy or FPL, and it's completely random. I click the button and then YouTube does its thing. I think they do say that those that are active in the chat have a better chance. Not spammers though, just for those that, you know, think, oh, I got a chance here. No, not spamming. But if you do like contribute in the chat and make some great questions and comments, then yeah, then you have a good chance. Rice lo pondrías? Creo que no. No creo que va a ser otro gol de tiro libre, pero ojalá que esté equivocado y Arsenal gane de nuevo. Edison will be out for weeks for Man City. Yeah, something to talk about in FPL, of course, and it's a big shame. He got a great assist, of course, in the recent match. But yeah, thank you for the update. Rudiger to Bastoni or Kim Min-jae to Bastoni? I'd rather sell Kim Min-jae. I think Bayern Munich have a better chance of going through, but Rudiger has the better clean sheet odds, I can't even speak, in Matchday 14. Elise or Rodgers? I prefer Rodgers this week. Brian says Kane to Rodrigo. I'd keep Kane. FPL No Name says Saka to Kvaratskhelia if I don't have any other concerns. I'd keep Saka, to be honest. I don't see a massive difference between them. Probably for this week, MP, yeah. But overall, the safest Inter Milan defenders are Bastoni and Pavard, in my opinion. Hoping for a good UCL night, says FPL Kevy. Strange because I want Villa to do well as an English side, although I don't want my PSG clean sheet wiped. That's the problem with fantasy games, right? It kind of makes you a bit conflicted, but also more immersed and engaged in these matches. I still prefer Hakimi. I think Inter Milan and PSG will concede. Differential captaincy, Guirassy, Hakimi or Dembele. I did say Dembele third in my captaincy list, so I'll stick with that, but they're all solid choices. I would rank Guirassy higher than Hakimi, though. I just don't see any clean sheets in the matches today. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Sell Kim Min-jae to Saliba or keep? I'll be honest, I might say keep here. Kimmich for Adeyemi? Yeah, Kimmich has six assists this season, only behind Rafinha in the Champions League. Yeah, probably. Kimmich always does well when we least expect him to. Hidden gem for captain tonight? Rodgers. Yeah, it'll be Rodgers for me. I don't think the Rai will play, no, and that's been covered before. So according to Kicker and UEFA.com, they don't have they don't have the Rai in the lineup. They've got Acerbi, Pavard, and Bastoni instead. Yeah, I think Bastoni's worth it. It's quite close though for this week only. Elise, Hakan, or Adeyemi out for Yamal. I would rather sell Adeyemi. Should I keep Guirassy since Dortmund might go full attack or move to Mbappe? I'd move to Mbappe, but they're both good options this week. De Vrij, Adeyemi and Elise to Yamal, Kvaratskhelia and Mendes. Good transfers. No problems with them whatsoever. Bastoni versus DeMarco. Bastoni. Manit says if you have both chips available. So as mentioned before and across all my videos, I would limitless now and wildcard in matchday 15 or 16 depending on your squad. Big up to Napstars again for the super chat. Always good to see you. I'm late. Inigo Martinez transfer. Yeah, he's on the bench. So Hansi Flick wanted to prevent that suspension risk. So he has made way for Araujo and Kubarsi. So I would move him out to Koundé if you don't have any other Barcelona defender. But my favorite options to buy are probably Nuno Mendes, Hakimi, and Bastoni. Guerrero to Bastoni or Rudiger? Probably Bastoni still. For this week only, you would say Madrid have a better chance of a clean sheet, and it's probably worth going through them again. No. The Inter Milan lineup that I've seen by Kicker and UEFA.com have Darmian on the right and DeMarco on the left. But I think Carlos Augusto will come on in the second half, yeah, but not start the game. Acerbi and Jude or Pavard and Saka? For this week, I prefer Acerbi and Jude, but it's close. Thank you, Cheyenne. Bellingham or Rodgers in? That's a great question. I like both of them this week. I prefer Rodgers a little bit more, but it's extremely close. Mexis says Kane and Kalinoglu versus Guirassy and Saka. What do you prefer? I would say Guirassy and Saka. There's not much in it. And a penalty to Kane or Kalinoglu, maybe even both, could switch things around very quickly. Jonathan says, hi mate, Rodgers or Bellingham or Kvaratskhelia? Rodgers this week. Yeah. I might be wrong about it, but I've got a good feeling. You will keep Dean? I don't have Luka Dean myself, mate. I have no Aston Villa players. I might buy Rodgers, but I would sell Luka Dean. What's your dream final? Arsenal, Barcelona, and Arsenal to get revenge for 2006. But yeah, that's going to be very difficult. Rudiger or Kimmich? Rudiger. Yeah, once again, Abu Dhabi, no, is the answer to your question. I might be wrong about it, but based on the lineups I've seen, it will be no. Courtois and Kim Min-jae or Raya and Rudiger, says Samuel. I would go for Courtois and Kim Min-jae. Bastoni for Rudiger or Saliba? I prefer Rudiger this week over Saliba, but long term, Arsenal have a better chance of going through. So it's a double-edged sword, it's a balancing act. I'd rather keep Rudiger if you can. Adeyemi to Yamal or Elise to Yamal? I'd rather sell Adeyemi. Now, don't get me wrong, both Guirassy and Adeyemi could do very well today. Get eliminated, but you get a lot of points. So it is a difficult one, but I'd rather keep Yamal and Elise. Yeah. Well, you're buying Yamal. Marino's a differential. I'm not completely against it. Now, Partey is available, so he should start in the midfield, but there was the possibility that Marino drops into that position and we see Trossard as the false nine. And if that's the case, I would not be recommending Marino. But up front, he's a good option. So, not a bad choice. I think Rudiger's the best Madrid defender. Yeah, I covered that, mate. I said Rudiger. Vitinha, Saka or Rice? Saka. Replace Augusto for a -4. I have Bastoni. I'm not a big fan of hits for defenders, especially this week, but if you were to do that, I'd say Nuno Mendes, Hakimi, or Koundé. I think long-term that could pay off. I have Sommer and Raya and a transfer. Well, they play on different days, though. That's the good thing about it. And you might want to go for Szczesny tonight, but then he will clash with Sommer next week. So when I say next week, I mean the next match day. But yeah, if you want to make a move there, maybe Raya out to Courtois as a one-week punt, maybe. Maybe Madrid go through. Who knows? Hopefully not. Bellingham or Valverde, sell Kobo or wait? Bellingham for me. I'd probably sell Kobo if he can, but it's not like an absolute must-have, but I think Barcelona will score a few goals. Who would you back up for this week in terms of clean sheet? So yeah, good segue here. Let's show you the clean sheet odds. So Madrid are top, and I do think they've got the best chance. I do agree with the odds here. PSG are second. Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and Inter Milan are in the top 5. Aston Villa, Dortmund, and Arsenal complete the rest of the quarterfinalists. I'll be honest, I don't think there will be a clean sheet. If there was one, it might be in the Inter Milan Bayern Munich game. Then you're looking at Madrid as the most likely. But I understand why they are top of this ranking with a 34% chance. As for the goal scorers, you'll see it here coming up now. So Mbappe, Lewandowski, Dembele, Vinicius and Kane is the top 5 according to fantasyfootballpundit.com, and you can see the rest of the top 15 list with the assumption that these players start. Not all of them will, as we've seen with the lineups tonight. Would you sell Adeyemi or keep? It is team dependent, but if you don't have Rafinha, Yamal, Dembele, I'd highly recommend buying those players to replace Adeyemi. Elise to Rodgers or Kvaratskhelia? I'd go to Rodgers. Fran Garcia, I mean, I just go to Rudiger. Maybe you're onto something there, but yeah, Fran Garcia, I'm just not completely sold on it. Why not Barcola? Why not? I'm not sure what the question is in reference to, but I wouldn't recommend buying him because he rotates with Doué, and in the first leg, Barcola was on the bench. So if you want a PSG midfielder, Kvaratskhelia is more nailed on. He also got player of the match in the first leg, and Vitinha gets ball recoveries and player of the match awards. So I think Barcola has gone down in our estimation. Will Urbik start? Yes. Neuer is not going to be available. He hasn't travelled. You have 3 Bayern players. That's going to be out tomorrow. I've got, yeah, Elise, Kim Min-jae and Kane. Well, that's not a guarantee, mate. And by the way, I haven't made my transfers, so calma. Bellingham or Saka? Bellingham for matchday 14. Elise or Rodgers? With the lens of this matchday in front of us, I would go for Morgan Rodgers. Best keeper this week? So for today's matches, it's close. I'd possibly say Emi Martinez. I think overall the best goalkeeper is between Sommer and Courtois. Yeah, I think that's probably what I'd be looking at. Saka or Rodgers? Rodgers this week, and I'd go for Harry Kane. Rodgers to Saka, I'll be honest, I'd keep Rodgers, but that's my personal opinion. Kane to Mbappe or Lautaro? Mbappe. And selling Kane is a big risk. Thank you to Keith for moderating the chat. Trying to spam the live there, because otherwise you will be banned or timed out. I think he's asking Rodgers or Kimmich, bro, but I have answered it a lot. I have answered these questions a lot, and I did say Rodgers. Who would you back up for this week? I just covered that, and you saw the clean sheet odds just now, so I'm not going to go through that again. Let's also show you the graphics in terms of how I did for matchday 13 and also transfer plans, so you have got a good idea of what I want to do, but there could be a few tweaks to my final moves. Yeah, for this week, FPL Elmer, it's Jude Bellingham. As I just mentioned with the best goalkeepers for today, it's probably between Martinez or Szczesny. I don't see a clean sheet for any of these teams, to be fair. And tomorrow, yeah, it's going to be either Sommer or Courtois. Based on the clean sheet odds, it's going to be Courtois. Another Madrid defender instead of Rudiger. Probably Fran Garcia then, but Asensio's not bad. He also scored. Actually, no, he scored against Alaves, then it got disallowed. But yeah, Asensio's not terrible. He's also, very cheap. Probably Asensio, yeah. He's more nailed on than Fran Garcia. Rashford or Rodgers? Rodgers. Yo, Dylan, Garassi to Lautaro or Bellingham to Saka? Probably Garassi to Lautaro, but both transfers could backfire massively. Sí, ¿quién capitán? Para mí, Rafinha. Y si lo necesito, sería Mbappe mañana. Guerrero will probably not start. According to Kicker and UEFA.com, it's not gospel, but yeah. Oh, there, Chase with some breaking news apparently. Justin Chesney has just left the locker room after suffering a blow to his hand. SCR suggesting it doesn't seem to be anything serious, more to follow. Oh, well, hopefully it isn't serious. I want him to remain in my team. Anachronism, you asked the question. I highlighted it earlier. I said, yes, he will start. Neuer is out. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully we get a conclusive update. I mean, obviously the game is starting at 8 p.m. So, yeah, 8 p.m. UK time. We should know for sure. So, yeah, hopefully in the next 5 minutes we can get that information and lock our squads in. So, before I go back to my transfers and lock in my moves, these are just some different graphics that I talked about earlier. If you want the kind of conclusive updates on injuries and stuff like that, rewind to the beginning of this stream and also check out my team selection video because all of that has been addressed. The same goes for suspensions and all of that. The stats as well that you can see on screen, the top scorers and assisters. But I think it's probably time to go through my transfers because I don't want to leave it to the last minute. And yeah, we will see what happens with the matches tonight. I will be watching Aston Villa PSG, that is for sure. And let's now go to my UCL Fantasy team. Thank you once again, Napstars. Garassi for Martinez. Yeah, I get it, because you can't roll transfers over. You want to use all three of them. I'll be honest, I think both of them are quite similar this week. So the only kind of upside, in my opinion, is the fact that Lautaro is more likely to go through because I think Dortmund have a very slim chance, less than 5% for me, whilst Inter Milan are the favourites right now against Bayern Munich. I think long term I'd probably do it, but for this week I see it as very close. So yeah, thank you Paredes, obviously a legendary sticker there. Saliba or Bacho? Bacho this week. Yamal or Saka? Yamal. Rice or Kimmich? I think Kimmich. Kane, Elise or Thuram Dembele? I prefer Kane and Elise, but yeah, Dembele is really good. Once again, Jesma, I did cover this. My answer was Rodgers. Removed Elise for Rodgers, a good move. I might do the same thing, and I'll be honest, I'm a bit apprehensive about it because Elise can do really well. Kvaratskhelia or Yamal? Yamal. Sell Bellingham for Saka, says Bilal. Just joined, love the stream. I think for this week, I prefer Bellingham. Long term, it's a good move. I think Arsenal are more likely to go through, but I'd probably keep Bellingham. Bacho or Bastoni? Bastoni. Assuming you've got two PSG defenders already. Otherwise, it's close. But I think Inter have a slightly better chance of a clean sheet. Bellingham to Kvaratskhelia? I'd keep Bellingham, if you can. Lautaro or Kane? Harry Kane. I have 3 PSG defenders. Should I make a transfer? It depends who you can go to. If it's Koundé, Bastoni, then maybe. Otherwise, you're looking at 1 week punts like Rudiger. Then Saliba might be good long term, but not for Matchday 14. So it's a difficult thing to balance, in my opinion. So for me, I'd captain Rafinha or Lewandowski. As I mentioned last week, and Rafinha was my favourite. I'll probably stick with him. And tomorrow, it will be Mbappe if needed. I literally took a -4 for him 5 minutes ago. Fingers crossed he's okay. Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate because, I mean, you wait for the lineups and for him to get a injury now would be very unfortunate to say the least. So we do have a lot of people tuning in as we usually do in UCL Fantasy. Let's get the likes up though. 300 plus minimum. It'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you to those that have done so already. All the super chatters, the patrons and the channel members. And a big up to Paredes for gifting 10 memberships once more. and also Napstars for the memberships last week, and also the 2 super chats he sent. Big up to all of you. It is greatly appreciated. Check all the links in the description for my Patreon, the Championships Discord server, UCL Fantasy League, Spotify, X, Instagram. All of that is there. And let us lock in our teams. Have we got more updates on Wojciech Szczesny? Szczesny will start versus Dortmund despite the minor blow to his hand. Yeah, there is the possibility he's subbed off early as a result, so watch this space, but based on what you're saying there, Chase, probably worth keeping him for now. Thank you, Eduardo Ortiz. Massive shout out there. If you have a message or comment, question, let me know. You don't need to send another super chat. I'll identify you and make sure it's answered. Thank you, El Padrino, OG of this channel, to say the least. I am with you. We'll keep his Napstars. Yeah, it's very close, I think, and I think Dortmund will score. Thank you, Kazi. Bellingham or Rodgers? It's close, but I do prefer Rodgers a little bit this week. Very, very close. And speaking of close, we are approaching 10 super chats. If we do reach it, I will be able to go live for a little bit longer. But it is almost 9 p.m. UK time here. I'll have dinner, watch the game. And and now I can finally have people come back to the hotel because I had to basically kick them out for the stream. Well, the thing is with Lewis Skelly, I mean, look, he's got so much potential. He's 4 million in UCL Fantasy, but I'd rather go for Saliba. He made 11 ball recoveries in the first leg. I know Skelly got assists against PSV and Real Madrid, but I just don't think it's worth buying Skelly now against, well, away from him at the Bernabeu. I think it's very difficult for Arsenal to keep a clean sheet there. But let's now go to the transfers. Let's lock things in. So I am looking at Rodgers in for Elise. I'm not entirely sure about Nuno Mendes, I'll be honest. As in, look, I like the player. I think he's a great transfer in. But I also have Pacho and Hakimi. So let's log these in. So which of these defenders do you prefer with my current setup? Let's see if we can do this quickly. So let's put Kim Min-jae. Let's put Nuno Mendes, Saliba. And let's put Rudiger. I think those are the options I'm really looking at. I mean, another Inter Milan defender is possible, but probably stick with that. Yeah, keeping Elise or selling is actually a good idea for a poll, and it's something I'm weighing up myself. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. And don't worry, I didn't actually kick people out. How many transfers we get in the semi-final first round? 5. It's 5 free transfers for the first leg of each round. The same goes for the final, and you get free transfers for the second leg. Rodgers or Rafinha captain? Rafinha for me, but Rodgers is 4th in my list for Tuesday, and he's a very good differential. Thank you, Napstars, once more for gifting super chats. A big up to you, of course, because you did it last week, and Paredes as well. Massive legends of the channel. So Jesmar, Raunuk, Raffle, I think that's Beliref, and also to Geo69. Enjoy the super chat, the super chats. Enjoy the memberships for an entire month. You will gain access to my videos earlier than public viewers, and also be prioritized in comments, in the live streams, and much more. Yeah, Nuno Mendes is really good for assists, and no wonder he's leading in this poll. Yeah, I mean, he's probably the best one to buy for me, but I just don't like having Pacho and Nuno Mendes and Hakimi at the same time. But then again, I look at DeMarco, his minutes will be managed. I think Bayern Munich will score. Kim Min-jae, I think Inter will score as well. Yeah, it might just be worth targeting the attacking threat, but I don't think, just for what it's worth, I don't think Nuno Mendes will score or assist tonight. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, Augustin, they've done it before. Arsenal have never conceded to Real Madrid in their history. 4 goals scored, 0 conceded, 2 wins, 1 draw. No losses. But yeah, I don't think they will. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Arsenal do keep a clean sheet and they win. Again, it's quite difficult. It's not fully locked in, to be fair, but I should lock in my transfers first, then I can think about that. But thanks for reminding me. Kvaratskhelia, Kimmich, Bellingham. My favourite is Bellingham this week there, Raunuk. Yeah. Good luck as well, FPL Elmer. Let's not complete the super chat goal for once, and let's just let the man enjoy his football and vacation in peace. Fair enough. I mean, that's one way of looking at it. If you had 6 players from Madrid and Dortmund, would you remove any today? Yeah, I'd remove Dortmund players if you can. I think Garassi and Adeyemi are good, but I'd definitely remove the defenders and goalkeeper if you can. Nuno Mendes will get an assist tonight. If I buy him in, then hopefully. Thank you, Raunak. Good luck as well, Kuka. Let's lock these things in. Otherwise, I'm going to forget. So Rodgers and Nuno Mendes, it does seem like a conflict, but they do play on the Tuesday. I can sub them up for those yet to play tomorrow. So those are my current plans. As for the third transfer, what the hell do I do? I mean, it's like literally... Maybe from this perspective, I can then do Bacho to an Arsenal defender. I can maybe go to another Inter Milan option. It's a difficult one. It is difficult. So let's end this poll very quickly. Nuno Mendes is winning quite comfortably. Yeah, let's lock things in because I've kind of focused too much on questions and comments and I haven't thought about my team too much. But yeah, it's a difficult week, I think, for transfers. So, which of these transfers do you prefer? So let's put, Inter defender / Saliba / Rudiger. So it'd be Bacho. Let's see if I've actually got enough time to do all this. Probably not. We've literally got less than 3 minutes. Okay. Kane to... Oh, scheisse. What have I done? Kane to Lautaro. I think that's probably it. Maybe Saka to Bellingham, which does seem a bit woke, you could say. Yeah, yeah. All right, let's do that poll quickly, but let's bloody log these in because I also have to order the bench and stuff and make sure that's done. Yeah, thank you, Napstars. Get logged in, hit the like button. It's free. Thank you very much. Let's get the stream to 300 likes, even if you're on your way out. It'd be greatly appreciated. And we can also, enjoy the live stream and the comments and messages and stuff. But I need to lock in my squad. Yeah, we literally got, let's stop fooling around for once. So yeah, Bacho to an Inter defender. Saliba Rudiger is winning. But it is quite close. Kane to Lautaro is second. Saka to Bellingham is last. Saliba, trust your team. Maybe. Yeah, I love Arsenal, but I always try to separate them, you know, in terms of UCL Fantasy and FPL, I'll try to be, you know, how do I say this? Yeah, not be biased and just give my opinions on whether they're good assets or not. I do like Saliba. I do. Yeah. You know, Mendes. This looks pretty good, to be fair. I think I'll probably end up doing this. I mean, I don't need to overthink it. What do we have? Yeah, let's just lock this in. All right, so Saliba. Please don't jinx him. So Bacho to Saliba, Elisa to Rodgers, and Kim Min-jae to Nuno Mendes. We are locked, and let's just make sure... Oh, scheiße. Hopefully we are not fucked. And Saliba, confirm. Yeah, boy. Apologies for the... breaking the PG rules. Sorry, man. I'm not John Cena. There you go. So, yeah. That is sorted. Everyone on my bench plays tomorrow. Courtois, Kane, Bastoni, and Saliba. I got talked into spoiling my own team. Back your team, mate. Back your bloody team. So, I've got 6 players on the Wednesday, 9 on the Tuesday, which is tonight, oddly enough. I've captained Rafinha. I'll probably stick with that. So Szczesny is in goal. He does have a late scare, of course, and, there were reports of discomfort, but he is starting. Koundé, Hakimi, and Nuno Mendes. Rafinha, Yamal, Dembele, Rodgers, Saka, Lewandowski, and Mbappe. That is my starting 11. I've got Courtois, Kane, Bastoni, and Saliba on the bench. Let me know what you think in the live chat. Close one. I always like leaving it close. It's adrenaline or something, but yeah, stupid. Don't do that, okay? Don't try this at home, kids. Even though I'm probably younger than some people watching. But anyway, in the end, the Inter defender Saliba Rudiger route did win. I mean, I think Real Madrid will score a few goals. So, yeah, hopefully that's not the case and I can enjoy a Saliba clean sheet. So that poll is ended. We have concluded our coverage for Matchday 14. And as usual, it was an absolute thriller of an end. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We are pushing ever closer towards 33k. Let me have a quick look at our progress. I think we're less than 200. Yeah, 170. So by the end of the season, it is possible for us to make a late push and reach 33,000 subscribers. That would be great. A fantastic way to end the season it would be. Why am I Yoda? Maybe I am. But yeah, big up to those that have liked the stream, those that have also sent in super chats, gifted memberships. All of that is massively appreciated. So let's go through the comments and see what you lot are saying. Dembele captain says, Ezra, good luck. Baccio or Bastoni? Yeah, Bastoni for me, assuming you've got the PSG defenders to boot. Donnarumma or Szczesny? Szczesny overall. Guerrero or De Vrij out? Both of them will be benched tomorrow, according to Kicker and UEFA.com. So ideally, it'd be both. I think if there was one defender who's more likely to start, it's Guerrero. Yamal or Bellingham, amigo. Es bastante cerca, pero Yamal a largo plazo para mí. Good luck, Chase. Dendi says cool. Calhanoglu to Bellingham. For this week, I like it. And I know you obviously said this before the deadline, but maybe you've ended up making the move anyway. But I did answer these questions before. I'm just going through them one more time, you know, the kind of new ones we got. But these questions have been covered. I think you should lock in your transfers. Yeah, don't worry. It's all done. I was able to do it. 3 minutes more. Yeah. It's good. It's kind of funny seeing these questions and comments from a few minutes ago, seeing how you lot were reacting. Already saw Vinicius. Can't see him scoring with the way Madrid play recently. I hope you're right, Adam. I really do. But I do like Vinicius tomorrow. I'm not going to lie. Yamal or Bellingham? Yeah, sorry, that was covered. Kvaratskhelia or Rafinha captain? Rafinha. Sell Kim Min-jae and Elise for Kvaratskhelia and Ben Sebaini? I'll be honest. I'd probably say no. No. I mean, why would you sell Kim Min-jae to Ben Sebaini? Bayern have a better chance of going through. They've got a better defense, and they're facing a worse attacking team. So, nah, not for me. Calhanoglu instead of Elise? Not much in it. I think the Turkish international has the penalties in his favour, but I do favour Elise more often than not. I'm not going to lie. Worth going Pacho to Mendes with the last three? I basically did that myself, and watch Pacho get ball recoveries and Nuno Mendes blank now. It's probably going to happen. So I might regret selling Pacho in the end, but if Villa score and Nuno Mendes can get a goal or assist, then I'll be a happy man. Barcola to Kvaratskhelia? Yeah, that looks pretty decent. Both games are 0-0 so far. I think. Maybe there's a comment coming in saying, no, it's 1-0. And that will be covered. But yeah, just making sure everything is sorted. So yeah, that's good to see. So yeah, you can witness the 1-pointer so far. Why not Bachos Samir? I don't know, just to diversify my defense a little bit. I think Bachos better than Saliba this week, to be fair. But longer term, if Arsenal were to go through, this is a better balance for my squad. And honestly, I'd rather have rolled a transfer and have 7 or 8 for matchday 15, but you can't do that. But yeah, thank you, Goldhead, for the concern. Ivan, of course, saying Saliba, trust your team. Maybe that influenced my decision. Just go Pachos to Saliba. Wow. Buying Saliba is the best option, says Extra HD. Interesting. Yeah, I agree, Samir. He is a good option. I'm not saying otherwise. I've been very bullish on Pacho for the last couple of weeks, which is why I bought him on my wildcard. I captain Kvaratskhelia again this week, says Arthur. All the best. And if he gets another Player of the Match award, you will be laughing. Napstar says Dembele captain. So we've got a lot of different routes. Now that I'm looking at it, so let's say Villa, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid and Dortmund go out. I would have Mbappe and Courtois eliminated, Rodgers and Harry Kane. Not too shabby. Then I've got an extra transfer to spare to make an upgrade. Yeah. We'll wait and see, though, because maybe things will happen. I don't think Barcelona will be knocked out, let's put it that way. But with the other games, they all hang in the balance for me, especially Inter, Bayern, and also Villa, PSG, somewhat, I'd say, yeah. One early goal from Villa, and I think that game is definitely up in the air. Good luck, Ryan. DG says, good luck, everyone, and fingers crossed for the Gunners. Yes, yes, big up to you. I really hope Arsenal can finish the job. It's not going to be easy, but they can do it. Kobel out for Szczesny for a hit. Not for a hit, no. Dave says, close one, mate. Linford laughing at me being an absolute idiot. What a shock. Good luck. Did Balde and Guerrero to Kubarsi and Bastoni. Yeah, good moves. I don't think Guerrero starts tomorrow. And even if he does, I think Inter score. I'm not a big fan of Kubarsi, to be fair, but it's an upgrade, of course, on Balde, who is out at the moment for the next 2-3 weeks. Always good to see you, Lager. Yeah, that was covered, Samir. Easy says, Emi Martinez, Rice, and Balde to Donnarumma, Kunde, and Saliba. Yeah, I like those moves. I think Emi Martinez might be the best Tuesday goalkeeper in the end, but I don't see a clean sheet from any of them. Maybe I'm wrong. Who do you think will win among Bayern and Inter? I did go for Bayern 2, Inter 1. And then on penalties, I do think Inter will go through. That's my prediction, but it is close. El Padrino says easily 33k. Hopefully. I think, obviously, we made a lot of progress in the first half of the season. Basically, the growth until February was incredible. And no Euros, of course, this summer. That was obviously a big boost in 2024. But I'll still be making content for UCL Fantasy and FPL over the next couple of months, even when the season ends. More so for FPL. And expect UCL Fantasy content to resume around August, September when the game launches again. But we still got this, of course, to look forward to. And after this, we've got the semi-finals and the Champions League final. Golded says, I kept both of my Bayern players. Sorry, just making sure that we don't have any interruptions, but I will be wrapping up soon. Goddard says, I kept both my Bayern players, sold double Dortmund for Yamal and Martinez and De Vrij to Bastoni. I like that. Yeah, good transfers overall. I would have done the same with a double Dortmund. I do think Guirassy and Adeyemi are decent this week, but it makes sense to sell them in a lot of scenarios. Cheers, John Laws. Dembele captain as a differential. All the best. He was ranked third. Yeah, third in my list behind Lewandowski and Rafinha, with the Brazilian being top. Good luck as well, Miguel Costa. Mikel Arteta in an interview saying there are no way Arsenal playing defensive. Open play games against Real Madrid. I don't think Arsenal will play that open. It will be similar to the first leg where they try to control the game and, not give Real Madrid those kind of spaces and opportunities to do quick transitions. I think Arsenal did make some mistakes in the first half and Madrid had a bit of joy, but then they shut them down completely in the second. So, yeah, they're not going to give away the tactics in the press conference, but I also saw Saliba say something similar about Arsenal going there to win, which we'll wait and see. But I don't think defending all game is the right approach. But you also don't want to, attack and leave spaces in behind because then Madrid will punish you. Thank you, Stefano. Good luck as well. Nathaniel says, I'm locked in. Let's hope for the best. Yes, that's all we can do at this point. We've made our decisions. Now we'll see what happens. Thank you, Let's Talk Vinyl. Good luck as well. Rampus's team, I like it. I mean, a lot of our teams will look similar at this stage. But you do have Rodgers in there. He is a differential, believe it or not. If I actually check his ownership very quickly, it's 6% apparently, although it might have gone up a little bit if we refresh the page. Opinions on KDB captain in Gemic 33. I actually recently made the graphics for the deadline stream coming up on Saturday, and De Bruyne is ranked very highly. He's in the top 4. Bit of a spoiler alert. Now, it's between Saka and Marmoush for me as the best captain overall, but if Saka is still a doubt to start against Ipswich Town and he doesn't look fully fit yet, then I think Marmoush might be the standout, but De Bruyne is a nice differential. Unfortunately, I think a lot of kind of engaged managers on YouTube and X will be pushing that because I'll be honest, like from a few days ago, I was setting up my streams. I put De Bruyne on the thumbnail for the deadline stream and stuff like that, but he is being talked about a lot now, which is kind of typical. He's been obviously getting more minutes. He feels pain-free and he's also getting those returns. What's the point of Premier League right now? Oh, in FPL, I've got like 50, I think. The bench boost hasn't been great. It's still a green arrow for me, though. I'm close to the top 100k, and that is my aim by the end of the season. But it has been a disappointing campaign for me, to be fair, but I'm just trying to enjoy the end of the campaign. I usually end seasons very strongly, and I'm on a roll of 10, 11 green arrows in a row. My defenders are Kirkes and Aït-Nouri, get 21 points combined. Oh, that's obviously very nice to have. I wish I got that from Milenkovic, who had that late clean sheet wipeout. Saliba was on course for 9 points, and then, of course, Brentford score. Yeah. Thank you, Keith, for moderating the chat as always and being the guardian angel. Good luck to you. Seeing that Mbappe challenge only get a one-match ban has made me a bit nervous about the officiating tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, Madrid fans complain, oddly enough, about referees. I don't know how, but there you go. Everyone's got their own point of view. That should have been a 3 or 4 game ban, and that would have meant missing the Copa del Rey final. Good luck as well, Godsent. If Arsenal go through, will Madristas ask Ancelotti out? You can't base things off the online fan base, but a lot of Madrid fans I've seen want Ancelotti gone. And I think Arsenal knocking them out, especially if they go on to win again tomorrow, yeah, I think Ancelotti will make way by the end of the season. My friend Captain Martinez, does he know something I don't? He captained the goalkeeper. I mean, I wouldn't have done that personally, but Villa have a good record in the Champions League this season, particularly at home. Thank you, Garner. Or Garnacho. Great deadline stream. I love these. Good luck, Dylan. Thank you very much and all the best for Matchday 14. Yeah, easy. Your guess is as good as mine. I think in the referee report, the referee basically niced Mbappe. He did him a favor, saying that it wasn't like intentional. He was just trying to play for the ball, and that's why he only got a 1-match ban. Foden to KDB this week? Yeah, I think so, especially if Foden remains doubtful. I do like KDB a lot. I would have picked Rashford if he was a mid. Yeah, possibly playing down the middle, out of position, but I still think Rodgers, with the form he's showing, is the one. But you're not going to get returns every single game, and he has been doing that recently. Good to see you, Badgeraz. Hey, what's up, Dylan? Haven't been on in a few match days, but still fine for the top 10k. Who you got captain tomorrow? If needed, Mbappe. Either jinx or get points. Either way, I'd be very happy. He's up there, Salah, for the captaincy against Leicester, but I would probably go for a double game maker. Saka, Marmoush, De Bruyne, Eze. Selb says when Guirassy to Kane instead of Lautaro, kept Rodgers instead of going Yamal, and did Elise to Kvaratskhelia. Interesting. I would have gone for Yamal over Elise and Kvaratskhelia, but we'll wait and see. Maybe there's a goal now. Yeah, Hakimi scored. Wow. That was close. That was close. That was quick. And yeah, maybe buying Rodgers wasn't great, was it? Who got the assist? Don't say Kvaratskhelia. And we'll see. Napstar says 64 points. Nice. That's all I can say. Very nice indeed. Penalty for Dortmund. Oh, wow. Not a great start, maybe. Obviously, I've got Koundé and Szczesny as my double up in the defense. Hakimi has scored, though. So, yeah, it could be worse. I mean, he's owned by 44% of the game, so it's not going to be a massive gain. Who got the assist? That's what I'm wondering. If you can let me know in the live chat, we can conclude this stream that way. I guess Martinelli and Barella will shine tomorrow somehow. I hope so, even though I don't have Barella. I had Barnes, Berek Nouri was on my bench. Yeah, I thought Spurs wouldn't score against Wolves, but yeah, for Nouri to get a goal and assist is mad. I was doing so well in Game Week 7 to 24, getting 17 green arrows in a row. Since then, I've gotten 9 red arrows. Yeah, FPL and UCL Fantasy can be like that sometimes. It's a shame, but thankfully I've been on a good run, but still some frustrations, especially on the Saturday. Alaves fans now support Arsenal after that Mbappe tackle. Yeah, I've seen even Atletico fans, you know, with Arsenal shirts and scarves on. Barcelona fans as well. But yeah, then you got the English fans, and a lot of them want, yeah, they'll want, oh, did I put Villa to score first, you idiot, Dylan? I had PSG to score first originally. Idiot. Oh, well, that's what happens when you change things out. But yeah, basically in England, I think a lot of people will support Madrid, but they can do one. Well, we'll wait and see. I mean, it's a low chance, but Madrid, it's very difficult though, even with a 3-0 lead, to go there and, you know, get over the line. Yeah, Dortmund have scored. It is 1-0, so Guirassy, right? It's Guirassy, isn't it? Yeah, those that saw him will be with pitchforks. I did say I think he could do well today, and I thought Dortmund would score, but I did put Barcelona to score first as well, so not a great start for my predictions. I have Harvey Barnes as Napstars. Nicely done. Yeah, that was a great differential. My kind of issue with Harvey Barnes was the fact that Gordon was back, so I was kind of expecting Barnes to start against United and then be benched in the second game, but now he could start both. I shouldn't have gone for Rodgers, for fuck's sake. Yeah. I mean, look, with Rodgers, he can still do something. There's still a lot of time there. I think Villa will score, but maybe selling Bacho was a mistake. Maybe. We'll wait and see. But I've got Nuno Mendes anyway. So Guirassy, what a good start I'm having. Enjoy. I mean, Guirassy's been a troll for me all season. If I had him, he probably wouldn't have got that penalty. No assist that came off Martinez, who tried to punch it away. The French people will love it, but they lost the World Cup final. What can I say? Dylan hoping it's not a Pacho assist. Not really. It's more so Kvaratskhelia because, I mean, with Pacho, he's going to get ball recoveries today. I just hope Villa score now, actually. Panenka style. Wow. But they're still 4-1 down on aggregate. When Hakimi did captain as a differential, fair play. I wasn't really that bullish on it, but you've already got a return guaranteed. You'll probably stick with it as well. Gardner says, I stuck with Guirassy. Let's go. Enjoy the points. I mean, Guirassy's been brilliant all season, and that takes him to 11 UCL goals. Joint second with Lewandowski, only behind Rafinha. But yeah. Guirassy Panenka, why couldn't he do this when I had him? Yeah, he missed the penalty against Sporting when I had him. Cheers, mate. Panenka went 4-0 down. Exactly. I mean, the pressure's not really there, but obviously if I had Guirassy, I'd be gassed. Guirassy's been a big troll this season. Yeah. I think when I sold him earlier in this campaign, he was an injury doubt. He was on the bench, he comes on and scores, and outscores my replacement, Jonathan David. But I digress. Garassi goal, good for him to keep right now. Sell him next match day. Yeah, and that's what I mean about the quarterfinals being so difficult in the second leg, because you're balancing the points this week with long-term transfers, because Garassi will ultimately be sold unless Barcelona fumble it big time. Hakimi is so attacking, yes. Both him and Nuno Mendes, having both of them is the dream. Even with Pacho, that could work fairly well from time to time. Damo went Martinez last minute and did Garassi to Kane. Yeah, I do prefer Kane over Garassi, but it's not a good start, of course, with that transfer. FPL K-Max says going for Koundé already going badly. Yes, but long-term, that could be a good transfer. And Koundé can still get you ball recovery points and salvage a 3 or 4 pointer. I was considering Barnes for captaincy because of how he was returning every game he started until I got the Gordon news. Yeah, that's what I mean. Things change so quickly. Early in the week, it looks like Gordon was out. Then, oh, he's going to be back and available. He's been training. Football's a funny game. Thank you, Napstars. Thanks, Dylan, as always. Best UCL content. Much appreciated, and hope to see you for the next set of videos on live streams, where I will be back in my usual setting, unless I go on another holiday. I can't speak. I blame the sun and stuff like that. Today's the day Hakimi gets a brace. It's possible. Then again, I just don't really see it as a massive rank rise or game. Knew it, Garassi will score, almost kept, but Kane FOMO got me. I would have sold Amadiemi to Kvaratskhelia only. There's still time, and maybe Garassi does nothing else in the end, and Kane gets a goal and an assist. But it's an early start, of course. It's good for those that kept the likes of Garassi, but there's a long way to go. If Dortmund eliminate Barcelona, there are not Dortmund in the Champions League since the... Sorry, I didn't understand your question, but they are 8th in the Bundesliga, and they are struggling. They did reach the final last season, but yeah, I think Barcelona will go through. Yep, you do get negative points for conceding a penalty. Yep, that is true. Thank God I didn't go Szczesny. I mean, I had him already, and I never really thought about selling him, unless, you know, he was going to be ruled out with that late scare he had. Dortmund started very well tonight. They rested key players against Bayern Munich in their 2-2 draw. Thank you, FPL K-Mag. Thanks for the good content, bro. Good luck this game week. Likewise. Alberto says, I have a friend that chose Hakimi like captain. How the hell does he know that? Can you explain it to me? I mean, it's going a bit different, I guess, in terms from captaincy perspective, because he is owned by a lot of people, and he's an attacking defender. But I'll be honest, I was always kind of favouring the defenders and forwards in this game, like Dembele, Rodgers, and of course from the Barcelona game, Garassi, Lewandowski, Rafinha. But there you go. You've got to be a bit different sometimes in UCL Fantasy and FPL to make those big rank rises and gains. Thank you to those that have tuned in today. If you haven't already, smash the like button of the stream and subscribe to the channel. We're getting very close towards 33,000 subscribers. And also hit the notification bell so don't miss a single upload or live stream for both UCL Fantasy and FPL. And check all the links in the description for my X, Instagram and Blue Sky, Dylan RCM, the Discord server, UCL Fantasy League, Spotify, my Patreon and the championships. Thank you to Paredes and Napstars for gifting even more memberships today. 15, just like in the last deadline stream. A big shout out goes to you and to all the members and patrons, the subscribers. All your support goes a long way to boosting the channel. Thank you, Bada. Always good to see you. Could always take a risk on day one captain. That's also true. And I always encourage people to do that if possible. But on the Wednesday, it becomes more difficult. And there, more often than not, especially if you're in a good rank, you'll want to go for a kind of more secure option. Although, play your fantasy the way you want. Dortmund scored but offside. Very good start by Borussia Dortmund. Barcelona are feeling the pressure. Let's see if they can withstand the early siege from the home side. Is there any cheating on the fantasy? Last game you got 104 points. No, I don't think you can cheat in fantasy games that you can in a PlayStation game, as far as I'm aware. Thank you, Alberto. I hope to see you in the next stream. The same goes to Dave and everyone else watching. Take care. Enjoy the football. I'll see you very soon for more FPL and UCL Fantasy content. I'll be recording the best free hit and wildcard squads potentially when I'm back from my holiday and the team selection. And there's another deadline stream headed your way for FPL, this time on the Saturday. Keep your eyes peeled for that, and I hope to see you very soon.